Good morning. Let me let the Discord know here. Turn off the volume. Good morning, everybody. What's going on in the Discord this morning? What are some of these pictures? Oh no. Who's getting trolled in the Discord? My God. Pragmatics. Give me 1 minute late. I'm 1 minute late and I'm getting shit from you people. Just 1 minute late and I'm taking a beating. Appreciate it. I'm very sorry. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Pragmatics. God damn it. I knew if I said you people. Sorry. Thank you, Jen. I have to just start over. I can't do that. I defended you. Who defended me? Faith, did you defend me? I threatened y'all with a good time. Welcome, everybody. Hey, tough fucking day for Democrats, huh? Oh, wait. Tough day for Republicans. Oh. Has anybody checked in on our friends? Has anybody checked in on our Republican friends to... Have you got... God, what the... I gotta learn how to turn that shit off. Decline. Has anybody checked in with our friends? Our Republican friends? I know Thor didn't make it into the Discord yesterday. We took a hard pass on that one. Sorry, Thor. Team's getting right after it. Time change bullshit. I don't want a 10:30 RTP. What's up, A-Team?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I think everyone's in a good mood today
Yeah,
after last night.
not a bad day, huh?
Um, especially Bashir, how he did in Kentucky. It's very unusual for a governor not only to get reelected, but to increase his votes and get more support. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Don't you think that he might be a blueprint in how other southern states can run, Democrats can run and perhaps win in those states?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Andy Bashir is, by all appearances, he's very, very moderate. And it works. But it's important for probably Democrats to realize a couple things in these states. Number one, that abortion is a winning issue for them. Protecting a woman's right to choose is a winning issue for them. We probably learned yesterday, maybe not so much in the southern states, but it could be medical marijuana may be a winning issue for them. But yeah, Andy Bashir ran a very good candidacy. Candidacy? That's not what I'm saying. Uh, sorry, I'm distracted by my Discord. I'm so sorry. I have to turn away from my Discord. What the fuck, guys? What are you guys doing in the Discord? I'm so sorry. I got distracted. Campaign is the word I was looking for there. Yeah, he ran a good campaign, and I do think that could work in the South. Um, maybe Arkansas could be next. Sarah Huckabee Sanders looks pretty ripe to be picked off. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, I can see that one coming. That will be a juicy race.
yeah.
Um, and in the future, like 2028, he hasn't said he's going to run for president. He hasn't shown he wants to run for president. If he didn't run for president, don't you think he'll be the hottest guy to be VP?
Like hottest, like best looking.
No, 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 sorry, I used the
Okay, I
wrong
was like,
word.
I don't know.
He
I
is
was,
good
I was
looking.
trying to think. I was like, I don't know. Dick Cheney was looking pretty good.
No, I meant like he'd be like I mean favorite because he could probably get the southern vote maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he'd be a great VP candidate. I think. He'd be a great presidential candidate. I mean, if he was running for president right now, he'd probably be the front runner. If you replaced him with Joe Biden, I think he'd be beating virtually every Republican in a head-to-head race.
I mean 2028, I can't wait because there's so many good Democrats who could run. I can think of at least five who could run, and they all would be great presidents.
Yeah,
Um, but because this is Biden's presidency, he's running
Hunter Biden
re-election.
could run.
Yeah, well, maybe Hunter Biden. Yeah, you might have a redemption, and you maybe everybody will vote for
That's
him then.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I
Good
just
night,
want
though.
to, yeah, I just want to just say, whoever the supporters, the guys who are doing all the work, keep it up, doing the right work, and hopefully you can turn the country in the right direction.
That's right. Good job, Kentucky. All right, brother. It's good
All
talking to you.
right, take
I
care.
will see you.
Yeah, take
Bye.
care.
Couple fun news stories. Shit, did I searched Andy Bashir? This one, IB put this one up in the. I think it was IB. Yeah, I put this up in the TikTok links earlier. Uh, Trump apparently um, yelled at his attorney. So if you guys remember, there was a video going around from the Zoom call where Trump and his attorney both just looked pissed as hell, and nobody really knew. Like, it was kind of a joke. Like, why is his attorney so upset? Probably because he's representing Trump. What is going on here? This is weird, bizarre. And turns out that in the middle of that Zoom call, they turned off the mic, and Trump yelled at him that he was going to cost him the presidency because the lawyer could not control that the judge set the Stormy Daniels hush money case for March 25th, 2024, which is right in the middle of primary season. So poor Trumpy Bear's having a little bit of a fit. I don't know how my screen looks on your guys' end, but like it's like half. I'm half of the screen. Does it look weird to you guys? No? All right. Yeah, Ivanka is on the stand today. I'll get to that in a second. I wanted to cover this thing. Let's see who's in the box. Is that Andrew? Can somebody find out if Andrew's opposition for me? Um, Going through just in short, like the amount of attorneys Donald Trump has gone through here. Uh, Obviously, August 25th, Steven Sadow was hired as his lead counsel hours before he went to Fulton County. Jim Trusty on June 16th requested to withdraw. On June 9th, Trusty and John Rowley said in a joint statement they'll no longer represent Trump. May 17th, attorney Tim Parlatore quit. February 16th, Rudy Giuliani was fired. January 31st, who is this? The impeachment lawyers quit. January 5th, Cleta Mitchell resigned. November 22nd, Trump fired Sidney Powell. November 16th, three of Trump's campaign lawyers representing him in a suit to block Pennsylvania's election certification. Jesus, what is going on today? I can't talk. Brian Hughes, Linda Kearns, and John Scott all quit. Porter Wright, Morris, and Arthur withdrew. Trusty and Rowley withdrew. Yeah, the amount of attorneys this guy has gone through is pretty remarkable. So I'm guessing that wasn't. Let's see. People were not happy about whoever that last person was in the box. Did somebody boot him from the box? Is that what happened? I don't know. I don't know if that's what happened. Headed over to this. This was a crazy story. So Ivanka's testifying today. This is from Occupy Democrats. Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump throws her husband Jared Kushner under the bus while testifying under oath at the Trump Organization's $250 fraud trial in New York. While being questioned by prosecutors, Ivanka threw Kushner to the wolves, admitting under oath that it was Kushner. Jesus, there's a giant moth. Let's see if I can get it. Look at this. Did you guys see that fly out? I caught it and then it flew away. That's pretty cool. I caught it. It was Kushner himself who introduced her to the Deutsche Bank banker who helped Donald Trump and the Trump Organization commit financial fraud by inflating Trump's assets in order to secure fraudulent loans for its Miami Doral golf course. Boy, this is riddled with spelling mistakes. This is devastating news. God, that fucking... What the shit? I'm sorry. That was a big-ass moth. This is devastating news not only for the Trump Organization, but for her own husband, Jared Kushner, which she just exposed to criminal liability for helping Trump and the Trump family business commit rampant fraud with her devastating testimony. I think Ivanka's trying to get some of those billions, get that divorce money in, and maybe half of 2 billions, 1 billion. That's a good thing. Who sent the fucking moth? That's what I want to know. It was my fault. I sat by the fire for a long time last night, and I left the door open. I know I've caught 3 moths already this morning. It's been a rough morning for me. How are you guys? I'm not even afraid. Here's the thing with moths. I'm not. It's not like I'm afraid of them. I caught them. I just always think they're gonna like wind up going down my shirt, and then I'm gonna freak out. What's Discord? Why is Discord making fun of me? Fuck you, Discord. They're the worst fucking Discord. Friendly. Oh, it was a friendly. Okay. That person was a friendly. I thought they said he was a POS. Or were we talking about J Rock was the POS there that was in the box? All right. Bad night. What guys, I'm losing my shit right now. I just need you to know every time I look up, my face has moved further down in the box on my screen. I'm taking up like the last 1/10 of the box on my screen. I can see. Can you guys see me? All I can see is like from my nose up. It's really all I can see. You guys are all good? I gotta not look at that. I might be shrinking. Not that shit again. Remember yesterday in Whispers Live, I was just and someone just like kept spamming the comments that I'm shrinking, that I'm getting shorter. That was devastating. Don't give me the short boy shit. I hate all of you. Moms for Liberty in where was this? In Linn-Mar School District in Iowa. They all lost their seats. So rough night last night for Moms for Liberty. I think it was a rough night for Moms for Liberty also in Tucson. I think there was a Moms for Liberty candidate that lost her seat. Virginia school board race. Justice Scalia's daughter, Meg Scalia Bryce, lost her race. I love that. Your daddy's a Supreme Court justice and lost her race. She favored anti-trans policies, opposed CRT. Bad night for Moms for Liberty. It is just a bad night all around for anybody MAGA. I don't think we're going to get MAGA today. I don't think it's going to happen. It's completely and totally a losing message. Matt Walsh, let's see if I can find this. Matt Walsh has the ability to spin things and have his followers. I still can't believe how many followers he has or subscribers on YouTube. Let's see. What was his tweet last night I saw? MAGA will double down. Good. Keep doubling down. Here we go. 5 years ago, lots of people on the right assured me that the trans issue was a political loser. We proved them wrong. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't prove anybody wrong. You thought you proved us wrong because Florida. And then we've learned every election since then that Florida is an outlier. And we should have known that from the start. Because everything is backwards in Florida. I think if you get hit with that many hurricanes, it just breaks your brain. No offense, Diva, if you're here. Now nearly all of those same people are assuring me that the abortion issue is a political loser. I'm sensing a pattern. What the fuck pattern is he seeing? 5 years ago, they went on a rampage against trans people, and all they've done since then is lose. Every contested race, they lose. The anti-trans, the anti-abortion message is a fucking loser. And so is, by the way, Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, also a loser. I do want to say this. Matt Walsh is the inspiration behind the way that Whisper dresses, though. I want to put that out there. Yesterday, we had a horrendous... Yesterday, we had just a tough day in the Discord with Whisper's flannel. Whispered went total mustard yesterday afternoon, and we had a heyday with that. Trump is killing it in the polls. Yeah, well, cool. You guys can keep hanging your head on polls. Enjoy that. Enjoy your poll a year and some change out. Enjoy that. You're gonna really fucking love those polls. Remember, come next spring when we're in primary season, and Donald Trump is missing primary events because he's in criminal trial after criminal trial after criminal trial. Just remember that you can hang your hat on those polls. That'll be MAGA 3 years from now. They'll be like, the whole thing was rigged. Remember in November of 2023 when Trump was up in the polls? It must have been rigged. Blue Wave yesterday says otherwise about those polls. Exactly. Polling is wrong, dude. Polling is difficult right now. It is hard to get accurate polls. because nobody answers their phone. Gen Z's not taking your poll. They could give a shit. Gen Z just has, like, they care about a certain amount of issues, and they just find out, like, what do these people think, and then they go on their way. They're not taking polls. They're not going to answer your questions. They're not going to teach you old farts something. They're just gonna go in. They're gonna show up in record numbers. They're gonna vote, and they're gonna vote. God damn it! In Ohio, they're gonna vote high too. They're gonna show up. They're gonna be high, and they're gonna vote, and it's gonna be beautiful. That's the only way you could get me to stand in a line to vote. W mail-in ballots. My ballot went in a while ago. I turned in my ballot so long ago, and the races were, I don't even remember what we had. Like, they were all local. I can't even remember who I voted for. I'm a little embarrassed about that, if we're being honest. Ohio wants the chips. Give Ohio all the chips. Give Ohio all the guac. Give Ohio everything. Aaron Reed had a great tweet responding to Matt Walsh. I was unaware of this. $2 million were spent in Kentucky running anti-trans ads. $2 million. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine just getting, like, that's what's fucking wrong with our country. $2 million. People were able to fundraise that and then spend $2 million to try and make sure that trans people couldn't be spoken about in school. It's a waste of money. Probably can see these young kids waiting in line to vote, and they know their party's dying. Yeah, a lot of hope in Mississippi too, as you saw. Obviously, we had some shenanigans. I don't even know if it's shenanigans in Mississippi. It looks like they were not prepared for the voter turnout. They thought voter turnout would be lower. They didn't print enough ballots. I haven't seen any evidence of any chicanery. Wait. Is this a video of Matt Walsh dancing? Sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, in Mississippi, in the bigger cities, does Mississippi have cities? In the bigger towns in Mississippi, I should say. The bigger towns of Mississippi, you have voter turnout that far surpassed what they expected. I think some of these southern states are waking up. And did you say shit cannery? I think some of them are waking up. And it's a beautiful thing. I may need to take my ADHD medicine this morning because you guys are sending me a million things in a row. Discord. If you're not in Discord, I don't know what you're doing. Take a couple gummies. I could take a couple gummies. Look, if there's something you want to talk about while we're waiting for opposition, feel free to get in the box. That's fine by me. I gotta wait for this medication to kick in anyways. Let me pull up, go back to Twitter here. Tucson keeps trending. I didn't see anything really that even happened in Tucson yesterday. I pulled that up. Except for a bobcat. If you look at Tucson trending in on Twitter, you'll see a bobcat on top of a cactus. But I was looking for the election. Kirsten Sinema. If any of you guys saw Kirsten Sinema's dress yesterday, definitely doesn't look like a penis. Chelsea, what's up? Hey.
I just wanted.
Oh, you fixed my camera.
Oh, I did?
It's great news. Yeah, I see me now. This is terrific.
You see you. That's all that matters.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm in Colorado. We, of course, were one of the first to legalize marinara recreationally. So I just wanted to say...
Are we not allowed to say that word? Is that a banned word too?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I like that. I don't want to find out. Clever way. Marinara is a clever way to do that.
Marinara. Yeah. So, Governor Polis, who is the governor of Colorado, I heard him on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and he's going to really start a push, now seeing all of these other states who are kind of falling in line with that. He's going to start a big push to legalize on the federal level. So, in your states... if you have state legalized recreational marinara, reach out, send an email and be like, hey, join on board and let's try on a federal level to get this open. He also started like a small business hub, I guess, for marinara businesses specifically, to give them government assistance for marinara specific businesses, because typically they can't qualify for normal like bank loans, normal small business assistance because of the federal illegality.
Yeah.
So yeah, just lots of cool things, and for people in other states, something to talk to your leaders about.
Well, that's cool. I was looking. I don't know. I don't think it's even come up for vote yet. I know Jackie Rosen, who's in Nevada, tried to push through legislation so that they can get access to SBA loans. That's one of the main issues with marijuana, especially in states where it's heavily regulated, medicinally specifically. You have to have incredible amounts of money. A friend of mine owns one of the dispensaries in Utah, and the amount of funding they had to get just from venture capitalists, because they couldn't get it from banks. You have to have very, very deep pockets, and it has to be cash. You can't go out and you can't get traditional funding to start those businesses, which is devastating.
Yeah, or even bank accounts. Sometimes it's been a while since I worked at Wells Fargo, but we would close people's accounts if we found out that they were in, that industry. So
You did, you dick?
not me specifically.
Oh, you didn't do it? You just said
Clearly not me.
Never? Did you ever rat? Did you ever rat somebody
very much
out?
Subscribe to marinara culture.
Did you flag any accounts?
No, not me. I'm not a snitch.
All right, just making sure.
It
Sounded like you were part of it.
Nor. Slander.
Nor? Did you say nor? What happened? It just leaves on nor? I've actually had I'm out of the substance. I have an old pen cartridge that I'm able to use right now, and it's terrible. But I lost my wallet and therefore lost my ID. So I'm unable, despite the fact that if I looked out my window, I can almost see a dispensary, like almost. And if I open up my door around like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., they're doing something over there when they're processing it. I get a good whiff. But yet, 100%, I have a fire pit outside, and I'm not proud of this, but 2 nights ago, I just found some old roaches, and I just went for it. Yeah, oh shit, I wonder if I thought I didn't even think about a passport. Yukon Charlie? Why didn't I even think of that? Huh. Yeah, they'll probably take a passport, right? May make you forget things. That's not... Listen, I'm 100% sure my wallet got stolen. I did not lose it. I took my daughter to a gas station. I bought a snack at the gas station, and then we drove home. And the camera clearly shows, as I walked back, I didn't have pockets. So I had just my phone and my keys in my hand as I walked back. No wallet. So, and it wasn't in my car, so I think I left it on the gas station counter. And then when I went in there a couple days later, I asked if anybody had turned in a wallet, and the 2 girls, like, they were so friendly, and as soon as I brought the wallet, they looked away. They wouldn't make eye contact with me anymore, which was weird. And then I went back in there the other day, and I talked to the owner, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to check the cameras. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I can't do that. And so I have to now file a police report to get him to check the cameras. So I'm thinking there's, again, some chicanery there. By the way, I also went in. I've been complimented 3 times now for my nails. My daughter painted my fingernails yesterday, and I keep forgetting about it. And what do you guys think? I got pink, and I got some gold glitter there. And I hate it. It absolutely drives me nuts to have it on my fingers. And she caked that shit on. She really, really caked it. If any of you missed Whispers Live yesterday, you may have missed my daughter telling HVAC to eat shit. So hopefully we can get a clip of that soon if Whisper ever does his job and pulls that up. But my almost 4-year-old daughter told HVAC to eat shit yesterday on a live, so that was pretty fun. It was the cutest way to be told to eat shit. Maddie, welcome. Woo, Mike Angel. That is beautiful.
Hello.
Hey, Maddie.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Oh, Michelangelo. Sorry.
So I wanted to add on that last person that you had on live in regards to the marinara sauce.
Yes.
I live in a state where it's also recreational. I live in Michigan.
Okay, I've heard of that.
And I do believe it is a bad term on TikTok because my entire previous account got banned for talking about marinara sauce.
Did it really?
It seriously did. I had over 20,000 followers and it just got banned in one instance.
Like on a live, or was it a TikTok you put up? What was it?
It was a TikTok I put up. Just talking about it.
Shit.
And it wasn't even a warning. They didn't remove the video. They just deleted my entire account.
It's devastating. Get a live, TikTok.
I know, right?
TikTok.
I just wanted to say, go ahead.
TikTok
sorry.
is funded by marinara. The amount of people who eat a lot of marinara and then sit on TikTok for 12 hours and make bad decisions and worse decisions, by the way. Those battles. Can somebody put their hand up in the chat if you give gifts during those battles? Do you know what I'm talking about, Maddie?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What the
No,
shit
I don't
is that?
necessarily give gifts like that, but I'll tell you, I enjoy a bowl while I detail a car and listen to you all day long. So.
Aw. You can detail a car while you're high? I can't do I just get couch locked.
It's the best way for me to do it. I have ADHD, and the strain that I grow is really, really great for ADHD, and I run my own company, so.
What strain of marinara, what seasonings do you put in your marinara that help with ADHD?
It's a strain called Gorilla Fuck. You ever heard of it?
I'm assuming that's a mix between GG and what's the other
It's
one?
GG4
Okay.
and Alaskan Thunderfuck.
I've never heard of Alaskan Thunderfuck. Although that may be what I call Sarah Palin from now on.
I think that's brilliant. You should totally do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna hop out. You have a fantastic day.
Oh, is that
man.
what ATF is? I didn't know that's what ATF was. Oh,
ATF?
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Alaskan Thunderfuck, yeah.
I didn't know that's what it stood for. Okay, there we go. I learned
Well,
something.
the
new
more
today.
you know, man, the more you know.
The more you know. Okay, thanks, Maddie.
You're welcome.
See ya.
You're gonna.
How did I not know that about ATF? I didn't know that. It's probably named after her. Donald Trump posting his disclaimers that he provided to banks for each financial statement. He's claiming that the judge refused to take this. Like the judge didn't have this information. Like the judge doesn't have the documents. But I want you to read. This is Donald Trump's This is his entire case in New York. Considerable judgment is necessary to interpret market data and develop the related estimates of current value. Accordingly, the estimates presented herein are not necessarily indicative of the amounts that could be realized upon the disposition of the assets or payment of the related liabilities. The use of different market assumptions and or estimation methodologies may have a material effect on the estimated current value amounts. That's basically standard for all these types of deals. Everybody puts in a disclaimer like this, basically saying like, our numbers aren't always going to be perfect and you might come up with a different number. That's fine. But then the problem is he valued his properties at like sometimes 5, 6, 10 times the amount that they were worth. And there was no stretch where you could value them in that way. So this is Donald Trump's defense now. If you guys don't, if there's MAGA in here and you guys don't know at this point that guy's stupid, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't think that all of the Trumps are stupid, I don't know what you're watching anymore. There's just no excuse for them to be leading anything. There's no excuse for folks to think that they're smart. There's no excuse for people to wear the hats. There's no excuse for people to still support him. None, zero, zip. He's just remarkably stupid. And now he's gotten older, and he seems to be in some cognitive decline. And he's even dumber. He was dumb then, but he could articulate things a little better. And now he's just dumb and doesn't articulate. What is this? Oh, did Maddie's echo sound bad? It didn't sound like an echo to me. That's weird. Sorry, Maddie. Um, by the way, I don't know if Felice is joining today. She's probably in a very good mood. She'll be joining from time to time. I don't know if she's coming in today, but she may. All right. Oh, well, let me pull this one up. Pull it up there. Now where did that story go? Oh, this was it. This was on Newsmax last night. This was I'm trying to remember who this was, but let me just hear this clip on Newsmax was struggling last night.
Like the Republican Party generally has a real problem with winning. It certainly was in the midterms here and now in this one as well. And you wonder, do we have the right people in place to be putting the messaging together to the people that are supposed to be there to get the early vote out, to do these jobs? You wonder about the RNC. Do we have the right people running the show? Because we're not doing something right. I think that's very obvious.
Yeah, Rob, I think you're right in a lot of places. I would say these state-level races, RNC doesn't really play a role in voter turnout. That's run by the team on the ground, and that in Virginia is led by Glenn Youngkin, and he made an admirable effort to push more Republicans to get out earlier and vote, with the ultimate goal of having more people voting for Republican candidates. But it's not been enough.
Yeah, Republicans, the reason you guys are having a hard time getting voter turnout is because you don't have enough Republicans. And it's very difficult to get more people than exist to show up and vote. That's the problem that Republicans don't understand here. By the way, fun to hear Glenn Youngkin and Republicans advocating to get out and vote early. How do you vote early? Mail-in ballots? Got it. But that's why you're having problems, Republicans, is that there aren't enough of you because you're run by stupid people. Dark, luscious Camaro. My God, that's
good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, a mouthful, but yes, that's me.
You're a mouthful.
Good morning
Terrific.
to you. Absolutely. I just want to tag off what you were just saying about the Republicans can't get the word out. The problem is, Republican, MAGA side, MAGA is a mental illness. There is nothing you can do about that. Okay? They're going to believe what they want to believe. Okay? Whenever this blue wave gets through coming through all these elections, they don't understand. They will be rolled up in it as well for the better. Now me personally, I don't like a lot of things that Joe Biden's doing. I'm pissed off as hell. Not what's going on over there, but what he said he was going to do here. So I'm not holding that against my voting part, but to vote Joe is voting against fascism. Okay? I don't know if anybody in these chat has read Project 2025. You know, it has already begun. They have already put key people, like your Speaker of the House. That's the first one. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And the second thing is the MAGA that are stuck in these red states to preach Christian nationality, which is the backwards of YT privilege. We're trying to roll it back to the 40s and the 50s. And I can give you another example. In Mississippi, you were just talking about that. Jackson, Mississippi. Do you know they have split that city? Not only is that Jim Crow laws back, but they split it to where the police department only stop the YT people and the indigenous only stop the indigenous. How the hell does that work?
Wait, hold on.
Yes,
what?
I got it. I got it right here. Hold on. I'm going to bring it up. Oops, I wrote it down.
That's all right. This is something I haven't heard of.
Okay, there it is. If you look up, oh my gosh. What is this boy's name? I can spell it for you. It was Tate and Governor Tate and Mayor Lumumba
Okay, you're
Lumumba.
gonna have to spell that.
Sure.
Lumen
Whenever
Baba.
you're ready.
I'm ready.
Lumumba.
Okay. Lumumba.
And Governor Tate. Lumumba. Lumumba. And that's in Mississippi.
Okay.
And
This is from their stories from like October 20th. They seem to not be very good friends.
No, they're not.
Okay.
No, they're not. But Governor Tate wants, let's see, the privilege shall stop only the privileged offenders. Indigenous officers can only pull over indigenous offenders.
Wait, so who said that?
Governor Tate. Governor Tate.
Let me.
And I know it's a mouthful. I know.
I'm trying to figure out how to Google it.
Damn. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up on my laptop. Give me a minute.
Yeah, it's Tate Reeves, right? Or Reeves?
Yeah.
I think it's Reeves, but
Yes, Reeves. I'm sorry.
that's all right. But then all day yesterday, Felice was saying Reeves, and she seems to get things right, so I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. But they were talking about that, and that the Jim Crow laws was in effect from 1940s.
So this is from this is from. It was reported by Mississippi Today.
Okay.
Let me just read this. Mississippi's black community was incensed earlier this week after state lawmakers proposed to create a separate justice system within the city of Jackson that would overrule the majority black city council and put a large swath of the local justice system completely in the hands of state officials, all of whom are white. As reported by Mississippi, let me just pull up Mississippi Today's.
Sure.
Instead, only in Mississippi, white representatives vote to create white appointed court system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was House Bill 1020.
Right.
The Supreme Court would appoint 2 judges to oversee a new district within the city. One that includes all of the city's majority white neighborhoods, among other areas. The white state attorney general would appoint 4 prosecutors, a court clerk, and 4 public defenders for the new district. The white state public safety commissioner would oversee an expanded Capitol Police force, run currently by a white chief. The appointments by state officials would occur in lieu of judges and prosecutors being elected by the local residents of Jackson and Hinds County. So these would be appointments rather than elections.
Right.
That is wild. So they took, wow. So they just tried to create a new district and then not allow people to vote in the judges, the DA. That is wild.
That is fascism, you guys. It's already here.
Now, does anybody know
That's
if
just a small.
did that pass?
That's just a small example. Yes. Yes. And the red lining.
Oh my God! It got approved.
Yes, and this happened in 2019.
Whoa! It went in effect July 1st of 2023.
Yep.
It finally went in. Holy
Exactly.
shit.
Hello.
This is Mississippi. For those asking what state, I had never heard of this. How have I never heard of this?
I know. I've been really, like I said, I've been in lives, liberal and Republican, and I do a lot of research. I mean, I write it all down because it's so much.
This was an interesting comment from Ed Blackman, a Democrat from Canton. He said, only in Mississippi would we have a bill like this where we say solving the problem requires removing the vote from the black people.
Exactly.
My God, this is insane.
There you go. There you go. That's Trumpism. MAGA.
Keep telling me, Trumpers, that you're not a bunch of white nationalists. Keep telling me that. That's crazy.
Okay, I had to bring that to your attention, but thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you having me up here.
All right,
Take
thanks.
care, everybody.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That is insane. Jen dropped this up. Jen dropped this link from July 12th. Justice Department challenges racially discriminatory provisions of new Mississippi law targeting Hinds County. Justice Department looks like filed a complaint, and here's what they had to say. Mississippi state lawmakers have adopted a crude scheme that singles out and discriminates against black residents in the city of Jackson and Hinds County. By the way, that's where we had the problems last night with the ballots in Hinds County. No wonder more people showed up to vote. No wonder they had record turnout in Hinds County. Jesus Christ. Like they tried to take away their city. Our complaint alleges that Mississippi has violated the U.S. Constitution by creating a new two-tiered system of justice, which erodes the authority of black elected officials and creates a new system to be led by judges and prosecutors, handpicked and appointed by state officials. Good point by that last guest, too, to compare this to Project 2025, because this is the plan with Project 2025. I posted that clip of Rick Santorum earlier today, and I'll play just the end of it here real quick. Rick Santorum says something that is so honest, and I don't think I articulated it very well in my video today, but I just want to get to the end of, well, I'll play the full clip if you guys missed. This was Rick Santorum on Newsweek.
Very sexy things like abortion and marijuana on the ballot, and a lot of young people come out and vote. It was a secret sauce for disaster in Ohio. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I thank goodness that most of the states in this country don't allow you to put everything on the ballot, because pure democracies are not the way to run a country.
So then do you...
Pure democracies are not a way to run a country. Thank God that most states don't allow the citizens to vote on the things that are important to them. This is so transparent by Republicans. It is. Look, they don't want pure democracy. And what's the argument for that? Pure democracy is no way to run a country, says Rick Santorum, in response to legalizing marinara and protecting the woman's right to choose for her own body. Yeah, and Rick Santorum just, with his full chest, says, yeah, this is why we shouldn't have ballot initiatives. These types of things should always be ballot initiatives. Every single time, these should be ballot initiatives. This is how this gets passed. This is how medical marinara always gets passed. And when the Supreme Court rules against Roe v. Wade, this is how the people can respond. If your elected leaders won't do it, if they won't do what you ask them to do, you put it on the fucking ballot. And it's not easy to get on the ballot either. You have to collect signatures, you have to have a bill, and then a lot of these bills, the way these state legislatures are set up, is that once you have the bill and you've passed the bill and you've voted on the bill, then the state legislator can go through there and they can gut it. They can completely rip it apart in most states. But that's Republicans, and that's Project 2025. They do not want the voice of the people to be heard. They don't want the voice of the people to be listened to, because the voice of the people is not Republican. The voice of the people is very, very far away from Republican values. The Republicans are a dying breed right now, and instead of recognizing that they are unpopular, what they're going to do instead is try and instill fascism. They're going to try and do exactly what they're doing in Mississippi. They will take away the rights of the voters. They will protect their own voting blocks. They will gerrymander the fuck out of any place that they possibly can. And they will try to consolidate power in as few hands as they possibly can. They have to consolidate that power into the hands of people that they trust and that they know and that are bought and paid for. They don't want the people to have a voice. It's interesting from it's interesting coming from the party that consistently says "we the people," right? You sit in a MAGA live, and they say the same shit. America first, we the people. We the people need to stand up. We the people need to do something about it. They do not give a shit about the people. They don't. They give a shit about power, and they understand that they're losing it, and they will do everything within their power to hold on to that. That was a crazy story. That is a crazy law that was passed in Mississippi. It's interesting. Like, sometimes I forget just how backwards the South is. What is this? Oh, cannabis is the better term. This is interesting. Thank you, Liz, for posting this. This is true. I'll read this in a second, but this is one of the things that's very true. So, the history of cannabis in this country started with William Randolph Hearst. He was kind of the first one to start an organized campaign against cannabis, and it was because hemp makes really, really good paper. And William Randolph Hearst he owned a newspaper, but not only did he make money from circulating the newspaper and selling the newspaper, but he also owned the paper mill where they printed the newspapers. And it was learned that if you use hemp instead of trees, not only is it more sustainable, it's easier to grow, it takes way less water, but it's a more durable substance. You can the newspapers won't get ruined as easily. They don't tear as easily. They're not as affected by water. But that would be a real problem for William Randolph Hearst. So he started campaigning against cannabis. That's when they started calling it marijuana, and it used to be marijuana, like with an H, not marijuana, like I'm trying to do a Hispanic accent. It was, instead of the J, it was an H. That's how it was spelled. But then they changed it. They changed the H to the J, and it's as dumb as you think it is. It's actually as dumb as you think it is. They put a J there because Juan is a Hispanic name, and they wanted to tie cannabis to Hispanics, because in this country, unfortunately, we still haven't stopped, but we demonize people who have a darker complexion. We specifically demonize Hispanics. And so they started calling it well, I guess I'm not trying to say, but they replaced the H with the J. Then you started seeing like the propaganda films. You started seeing the things like Reefer Madness, where they would legitimately teach white children and white parents that if your specifically white daughter smoked cannabis, that they would then go have sex with black men. They believed that it would alter your brain, and they didn't want their white daughters having sex with black men. So they ran these disinformation campaigns, these scare tactics that virtually all of your grandparents saw too. This wasn't like, there wasn't YouTube. This wasn't something that you went down a rabbit hole and found. This was shown in schools. It was shown in churches. It was shown to everybody. They used cannabis as a way to scare people, and it started with money. It absolutely started with money. But as all things go, anytime certain people can also blame certain other people, they will do it. And so from then until now, like, I've tried to explain this to my parents, who still, like, they grew up with those Reefer Madness videos, and they still think it's just the worst thing ever. My dad, as he was going through cancer treatments, I tried to get him to take edibles, to take just the oil, not smoke it. He would not do it because he has been brainwashed from years of propaganda saying that this is not okay for you. And that is the history of cannabis. It's the history of what we're dealing with. That's why when you look in these deep red states, it's really, really difficult to pass these laws. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. I can't remember who said that. That was from Ottawa Citizen. Of course, Canada would be honest about it, but let's see if there's anything I missed there. There we go. So during the Depression in the 30s, that's when it started. Due to the influx of immigrants, particularly in the South, and the rise of suggestive jazz music, many white Americans began to treat cannabis, and arguably the black and Mexican immigrants who consumed it, as a foreign substance used to corrupt the minds and bodies of low-class individuals. The use of the term increased dramatically in the 30s when it was systematically employed by Harry Anslinger, the director of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, who waged a 3-decade-long campaign against cannabis. Anslinger used the term marijuana to reinforce the plant's foreign identity. He racialized the plant for white audiences. This is a real thing he said. By the way, for anybody who have used this, I got the link in the Discord. Whoever posted the link, can you post it again? It's in the Discord. This is an actual quote from Anslinger in a testimony before Congress. Marijuana is the most violent one of the most violence-causing drugs in the history of mankind. Most marijuana smokers are the N-word, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana usage. This is congressional testimony. It's not as though, let's see, and then this is from, okay, that's the end of that. It's not as though people today who call weed marijuana are racist, but that word is a celebration of prohibition and a gross reminder of racial prejudice. Plus, it's a victory for Harry Anslinger. That's an interesting thing to bring up. Yeah, let's use the word cannabis. That's a good point. It's fine if you use the other word. I'm not going to get upset, but it does. Like many words that, and like many things, it's devastating to hear words you use and the history. Somebody brought up a word the other day that had a history that I'd never even heard of, but that's the history of cannabis there for you. Hey Sharon, I'm trying to get some op here. Give me a couple more minutes and then I'll see if we can get some op. Chasing the Scream? What is Chasing the Scream? The first and last days of the war on drugs. I'll have to check that out. Jonathan Hari? Is this I don't know what it's about. But I can tell you this, never, if I'm angry, I use cannabis to not be angry. It's pretty laughable that somebody would think that, like, cannabis leads to violence. I don't think there's been any evidence of that I've ever seen. For devil's lettuce on here. Does that have roots too? Devil's lettuce? I don't know. I think that one's silly. Devil doesn't exist, so that one doesn't count. Yeah, Trashy, good point. For those who have ADHD, like, it tells your brain to calm down. I had real sleeping problems before cannabis, like really, really bad sleeping problems because I couldn't shut off my brain at night. Every sound I hear, I have to figure out like how it's making that, like what's making that sound, or I freak out about something that I had the next day that I knew I was going to forget, and then I'd start thinking about that, and I'd spend 40 minutes thinking about it instead of just writing it down like that's what people do. But when I was introduced to cannabis for pain, actually, for some inflammation, and then I learned that it actually is a great way. And this will be for some this is judgmental, for some may judge on this. I think oftentimes, especially in low doses, it can help you be a more patient parent, especially if you have ADHD like I do. Helps me a ton. If I could take small doses while I'm with my daughter, it allows me to lock in. It allows me to connect with her creativity. When she tells me stories, I find them far more interesting. I think they're a lot funnier. I can engage with her imagination. I have a friend who he's gone through a ton of trauma in his life, and he also has ADHD, and struggles mightily with depression. And he told me one time. So he had formerly been he had gone to rehab many times for I believe alcoholism, maybe narcotics as well. So he was taught in rehab that any of these things, any substances, specifically cannabis, that would lead to a relapse. But he once he had children, he started using it again, and that's what he said. He's like, I'm just, the only way for me to be the parent that I want to be is when I can shut that down. We've learned a lot about cannabis. We've learned a lot about how it interacts with your brain. We have cannabinoid receptors for a reason. Our brains have cannabinoid receptors. Our body is meant to respond directly to it. So, fuck you, William Randolph Hearst. By the way, I recommend watching the musical Newsies. You can learn more about William Randolph Hearst. He's in there. Not in my America. Apocalypse says, "Give me weed or give me death." I love Newsies. I will never hear a bad word about Newsies. I get made fun of for it all the time. That is, if you haven't seen it, Christian Bale is the lead, and he sings. Okay, and he's not great at it. He's not a great singer. But that was probably, I think that was one of the earliest Christian Bale movies, wasn't it? I say that what you say is what I say. Perfect. That's what's that guy's name? That's the Brooklyn, right? What's his name? What's the Brooklyn's guy's name? Never fear, Brooklyn is here. Somebody give me Brooklyn. What's Brooklyn guy's name? Spot, thank you. Spot Collins. That's who it was. Spot Collins from Brooklyn. God bless Spot Collins from Brooklyn. Fuck, you guys want to shut it down and just watch Newsies? Now I'm into that. Now I'm into watching Newsies. It's good to be 1 hour with no opposition. This is terrific. I'm running out of stories. Y'all are gonna have to drop stories for me, or come up here and tell me something interesting. Dougie, we've had cannabinoid receptors long before cannabis was around. I'm very pro cannabis, but I'm sorry, insinuating we're meant to consume it. No, I said the body. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. I mean our body has the receptors to consume it. That's what I was saying, Dougie. Not that we are meant to. But Dougie, you're meant to. How dare you? Thanks for correcting that, Dougie.
Hi.
Hey! Are we wearing a hoodie in solidarity?
Yeah.
Thank you. What's on the hoodie? Is this a... Wait.
I don't want to say it out loud. But...
Oh, I thought it was maybe your new logo. I thought somehow you had got a hoodie made with your new logo. What is that? Oh. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm here about Newsies, first of all. Newsies is my favorite. Like, I've seen Newsies on Broadway, but the Christian Bale version is... That was my favorite movie as a child. I probably watched that movie, like, 1,000 times. I know every word and every song.
This is
okay, well, then we should do a musical, because I'm not joking. I can play, like, every part.
Oh, I can, too. I can probably go the movie all the way through just with the songs. I can do all of it. Yeah. And, by the way... How about Democrats carrying the banner this morning? See what I did there?
Wait, can I talk about something I want to talk about before you redirect me?
I've been talking for an hour, please.
Okay. I want to talk about, so last night late, they were supposed to move the vote to, it was supposed to be this morning, but they did it last night late. They did censure Rashida Tlaib, who's the only Palestinian member of Congress. We're talking about Margarine, who's screaming anti-Semitic things every time she's on the House floor. Jim Jordan posting anti-Semitic tweets from the House Judiciary Twitter handle. We're censoring the Palestinian American who's upset.
How about
22 Democrats voted along with the Republicans, by the way.
Why not Hansky Boebert? Remember when Boebert first came to office and she went around campaigning all over the country and she kept telling that bullshit story that definitely wasn't true, how she got in the elevator with Rashida Tlaib and was like, "Hey, look, it's the Jihad Squad," and then said, "But I wasn't worried, she wasn't wearing a backpack." Like, we have her on video saying that multiple times. We have multiple people have called Rashida Tlaib a terrorist, and yet Tlaib's the one that's going to be censored here.
Yeah, remember when Lauren Boebert, when she first spent her first year in Congress just screaming about the LGBTQ?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much her first year, was just being a bigot against the LGBTQ. So Rashida Tlaib is censored, and right now, anyways, what I've been watching was there's a congressional hearing going on against... Jim Jordan, the House Judiciary Committee, the chairman, is hosting a congressional hearing on anti-Semitism on college campuses, meaning they want to make it illegal for Palestinian protesters to protest. So all these college kids showed up to this hearing and are just screaming at Jim Jordan every time he tries to talk. And they had to take a bunch of people out because every time Jim Jordan just starts to talk, they just censorship. That's great. And then wait, one more thing. Let me just recount what's funny in here. At one point, Matt Gaetz is giving a speech, because everyone gets 5 minutes on the Judiciary Committee to question the witnesses. Matt Gaetz, just being the malignant narcissist that he is, just, uses it as a soapbox. At one point, he quotes Austin Powers. He says, to quote the great philosopher Austin Powers, right? This just happened. He's like, there's only two groups of people I cannot stand. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. Yes, we're just talking about something real. Matt Gaetz is up there just...
Let's play it.
Powers, I want Israel to win and Hamas to lose, but this is not an Armed Services Committee hearing about the military. It's a judiciary hearing about speech. And in that vein, I am reminded of the great words of the philosopher Austin Powers, who said, "There's only two things I can't stand: people who are intolerant of other people and the Dutch." And a similar tension seems to be on display today.
A similar tension from the Austin... I remember that part of the Austin Powers
people
movie
are
thinking,
dying, you know what I'm saying?
This is too much tension. And I remember when this kicked off, I remember thinking, this is just like Austin Powers. That was my first thought when all this started kicking off.
It's disrespectful to be in a hearing on anti-Semitism. And that's your take on the Israel-Hamas conflict? That's...
What was his point? What was his
There's
point?
no point. He just wanted to be funny. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He just doesn't care. This is a hearing Matt Gaetz doesn't care about.
Like all hearings.
Well, I mean, he gets all his funding grassroots. It's domestic. It's people who don't have an interest in foreign policy. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't accept any big business money. He's not beholden to any corporations or K Street. So he just doesn't care.
Yeah, I forgot about Rashid.
But here's another one that's really good.
Wait, so do you know what specifically are they censuring her for?
She was giving a speech. I think specifically for the words. I don't know I believe it's "river to the sea." That expression about pushing Israel into the sea,
which is actually used by both sides of this argument. It doesn't even make sense.
It goes both ways. Yeah. That's what they are saying, and they're saying you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who literally said it was easier for Jews to escape concentration camps than for people to wear masks or some, and she's just living footloose and fancy free. Like, it's insane.
How old are you? Where did you
I've never seen Footloose. No, I've never seen it. I just like expressions. I have never seen Footloose.
I also haven't. It was filmed in that town just by, like, right up the street from me. Never seen it.
I've never seen. You don't know this about me yet, but I am mocked widely across the internet for never having seen a movie. I've never seen Star Wars. I knew you were mocked widely across the internet. People deem important, I most likely have never watched.
What about Grease?
Oh, I have seen. I think it's because it's a musical. We could sing Grease too, but I prefer Newsies. Newsies is way better.
I agree with you.
Okay, wait. I have to go on about this hearing that is turning into a shit show. So I don't know if I watch all congressional hearings. This is like my Super Bowls. I get off on it. So Eric Swalwell, every time that it's his turn, he gets 5 minutes in any hearing. It doesn't matter what the hearing's about. He just spends 5 minutes trashing Jim Jordan. He blows up his tweets. He ends every time with and we're now 500 days since Jim Jordan has been dodging that subpoena. Yeah, you should look up his clip of Eric Swalwell.
Let me see if I can.
Does it ever get old of Eric Swalwell pointing out that Jim Jordan is a hypocritical?
One of my favorite ones was when he was like, the guy walking out the door right now who doesn't want to hear what I'm saying as Jim Jordan was leaving is still defying a congressional subpoena.
It never gets old. But it is I cannot sit through the House Republicans having a hearing on anti-Semitism. Like, you have a closed door meeting and root out the anti-Semites amongst yourselves. Like, that's what needs to be happening.
I can't find that one, but I did find this one. Here's Eric Swalwell.
Contempt of Congress. Mr. Attorney General, my colleague just said that you should be held in contempt of Congress, and that is quite rich, because the guy who's leading the hearing room right now, Mr. Jordan, is about 500 days into evading his subpoena. About 500 days. So if we're going to talk about contempt of Congress, let's get real. I mean, are you serious that Jim Jordan, a witness to one of the greatest crimes ever committed in America, a crime where more prosecutions have occurred than any crime committed in America, refuses to help his country, and we're going to get lectured about subpoena compliance and contempt of Congress? Jim Jordan won't even honor a lawful subpoena?
Yeah, that was beautiful. It was fun to watch his eyes, too, as he darted
Hold
away.
on, Whisper's giving me a hard time about not using the thing he made me.
There you go. What do you guys think about Whisper made this for Felice? And now everybody wants one. Jen wants one too.
He did that in like 5 minutes. Whisper's a renaissance man. Now he's an artist apparently too.
This is actually what he's good at. Yeah, he's really good at this. He's pretty below
that right brain and left
brain
are working hard.
Well, just wait till... Oh, shit! I haven't announced this. I forgot. We're going to be live streaming the Republican debate.
Oh, that's one of the reasons I'm up here. You won't let me get through any of the things I wanted to say.
Go.
That was one of them. Well, I was just going to say, I was going to ask, we're live streaming the debates. I think there's only 5 Republicans now, which will make it much better. Did you watch the previous debates?
Yeah, I did. I'm gonna really miss Asa Hutchinson. He's gonna be really missed.
Doug Bergman's just like some rich guy who had a bucket list to like get on the stage in a debate. He didn't even talk. It's like, what are you doing up here? Stop talking about your grandma. It's. Thank God, Doug Bergman. He referenced her a lot. It was strange. It was so super weird. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna live stream it tonight. What time does it start? I don't even know yet. I didn't know the debate was happening till yesterday. I completely forgot. It's gonna start at 6 p.m. my time. I have to say that for me. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Did I do that right? Yeah.
I can't. Don't ask me. I thought it was a different time all day yesterday.
7 Central. Yeah. It'll be on NBC, but more importantly, it'll be on our YouTube. So we will be live streaming that. And look, I just need to prepare you, Felice, that we have not yet had a YouTube live stream that went well, and where things
I thrive
worked
in
out.
chaos.
Well, this was like nobody could hear us speaking. So we're gonna get there.
Even better. That's better for me.
We're gonna get there an hour early. We're going to practice. Whisper promises that he's going to do well, and we're going to live stream those debates on YouTube
I have a question
channel.
about it then.
Yeah.
Pre-debate coverage starts an hour before. Do you mean an hour before pre-debate coverage, or do you mean an hour before the start of the debate?
Start of the debate. What, you want to analyze the pre-debate?
No, well,
Okay.
I like to be on time. That's
Yeah.
my thing.
Is this is like corn to you, isn't it?
What?
Not corn. Not corn. I'm not allowed to
Oh.
say that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It kind of no, because these people are garbage. Who wants to watch these people?
I do. I would rather watch Republicans debate because I don't have to. You can kind of just laugh. I
Did you
gotta
see
say,
Chris Christie last week at that Republican Freedom Florida conference where they booed him and were screaming at him and like Asa Hutchinson, and he was just like, "It's reprehensible that you just won't face the truth," or whatever. Well, I'm wondering if he's going to just do that tonight, just because it's probably his last debate, so he could just lose his on everybody.
Well, I'm here for Vivek. I'm always here for Vivek. I'm always interested in how long Vivek can speak consecutively without saying a goddamn thing. He never says anything ever. He just
The
like
walking
speaks in
gish gallop.
generalities. Yeah, that's all he does. Like, it doesn't matter what you say to him. He's incredible at it. Honestly, he's so good at it. I almost respect Vivek because he's so good at confidently saying things without ever saying a single word.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you something that's really I mean, it's about Marxism and it's related to Vivek. Like, in Marxist theory, the idea of the market, like the free market, before currency, before real, what we consider capitalistic economies, it was like the producer was also the consumer. You know, people were providing goods and services. They were being consumed by people who were also producing goods and services. So there was no need for currency or money. And what capitalism did is it brought in those like third parties, you know, who are buying goods and services at certain prices and then reselling them. And that's where currency comes in and corruption. And that Vivek is the corruption in the market, in the Marxist market. Like, that is what his career has been. He's a pump and dump. He made his money off that had failed 4 times through drug trials. He got Alzheimer's patients' hopes up. Started new drug trials with a drug that they told him would fail. He's buying these drugs from other big pharmaceutical companies that had already knew them to be failures, but still held the patents. And he pumped up the stock, got everyone to buy it, and dumped it, and left those people with nothing.
Which is why he loves crypto.
Crypto bro.
All right,
Classic crypto bro.
Whisper says that he'll be there and that the last failure was my fault. I was late and forced him to try new things. That's what he said. It's just not true. I just need you to know, Felice, that it was not my. You don't bring a toddler to dinner and then blame the toddler for making a mess, right? It's just what a toddler does. And when I show up to these things, I'm not gonna know how anything works. I'm not.
I became a mod in the Discord and broke something within 5 seconds.
You broke something in
I don't know. There's so many buttons. I think I have fat fingers. I don't know what
I was a minute late today.
And can't be unpushed.
Yeah. All right.
No, so we just have to show up early. So just be
I'll
there.
be there
You
an hour
are.
early.
You need I said this yesterday to you. You need a full-time handler.
That's you.
Oh, great.
I thought that was you.
I resign.
Oh shit.
I probably need my own.
Jen's
great.
Jen's my full-time handler now.
She probably is.
Were you here earlier when we talked about HB 1020? Were you listening for that?
I think. Well, remind me.
That was the House bill in Mississippi.
Oh my God! What was that? Yeah.
Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know about that. I know about many. Jim Crow is alive and well in the South. I don't know what everyone thinks is going on. Like
It's just shocking every time.
I mean, that's what they're doing in like Nashville, Memphis. You know where they kicked those two, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, out of the Tennessee State legislature for trying to work on pew pew reform.
Yeah.
That's what they are doing in Memphis and Nashville. They're with the city council. They're basically they're invalidating their power, like making it so nothing that the black city councils want can be enacted, and they're draining the funds from like the districts. It's. I mean, if you have a supermajority, what can't you do?
Yeah, that's the scariest part. It's good news for Project 2025, though. I think. In that there's no chance of the Republicans getting a supermajority. But the scary thing for me, Felice, is like going forward. I understand that right now it's unpopular to be a Republican, but the Heritage Foundation is going nowhere. The Heritage Foundation will take another stab at this at some point. And my biggest concern with Republicans is that they're going to learn from 2024 when they get absolutely ass blasted, and they're going to pretend that they've shifted to the left. And they're going to pretend that they've shifted left long enough to get people in power, to get judges in place, just like they did when they overturned Roe v. Wade. The same thing. There's nothing that the Republicans won't lie about. And the whole like lying for the Lord thing, that's the Heritage Foundation. We're lying because it's for the Lord. That's what we're doing. We have to lie to the American people so we can protect Christianity. And that's what makes me the most nervous, is because they have so much money. Nobody seems to understand that they're the ones pulling the strings. Nobody seems to understand. Like, they ran Trump's presidency. Every right-leaning piece of legislation or executive order that Trump threw out there that was like had anything to do with traditional like Christian values, those were all written by the Heritage Foundation. Every one of them. Donald Trump didn't come up with those ideas. Not a goddamn one of them.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying.
Do you want to talk about the elections last night?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Let's talk about the elections last night. Ohio, I mean, great news for people with uteruses. Actually, I don't want to say people with uteruses because I just think this affects everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, healthcare for pregnant people is important. So, I'm. Someone told me, like, I'm surprised it was only 50. Didn't it pass at 57%? Yeah.
That was the last number I saw, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I mean, it wasn't that similar to the last time. I think in Ohio, for me, just being born in Arizona and living, or seeing, I didn't live here the whole time, but seeing, like, the change from completely red to blue. Yeah, that's what you're seeing in Ohio. Like, change in the voter turnout is slow and arduous, but you see these like little signs of light, and it's so awful that Roe v. Wade was repealed, but like if that's what the way it's activating people to notice what's going on around them and also pay attention to local elections and understand state legislatures matter. We can't just let anybody be sitting in a state legislature, I think has been valuable. It's a valuable lesson because a lot of us were asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. What's interesting to me when you bring up Arizona is legalizing cannabis, at least just medicinally. That was the first sign that Arizona was shifting blue. And then it went blue, 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 blue. Like, it's gotten progressively more blue. Every state, once you legalize cannabis, that seems to be the start of shifting blue. Because once you recognize that, like, things can be legal even when people don't like them, or even when historically they've been viewed as horrific. You know, like even though we've had decades of propaganda wars against medical cannabis.
Well,
now,
hold
now
on.
that
Let me say something about that. Like,
Yeah.
I think that the bottom line is we need to start looking at evidence-based science. Evidence-based science says that consensual crimes should not be crimes, right? All sociological studies say that. Like, when we look at countries like Portugal that have legalized illegal substances all across the board, all addiction rates are down. Like, all of the money that the war on drugs was spending needs to be reconcentrated into rehabilitation and education. This is scientifically proven to be the way to handle the war on drugs. You know what I mean?
Well, look at the complaints that we have on the southern border. You can look at the impact that even recreational cannabis in California and Arizona. You can see the impact that had on the cartels. What did they do? They went and they took over avocado farms because they no longer could sell cannabis. It made no sense for them to try and bring over cannabis. So they went and they took over avocado farms, and they're avocado farmers now for some reason.
No,
Did you know
I mean,
that?
yes, starve the market. No, like that's the thing. If there's no market for it, there's no market for it. This is capitalism, isn't it? Use your own economic system against them. But that's the thing, right? The marijuana, these petty drug crimes, this is about the prison slave labor pipeline, right? This is about under the 14th Amendment, slavery is still legal, or is it 13th Amendment? 13th Amendment? 13th
14th, isn't it?
One of these amendments makes slavery still legal if you're in prison.
It's 13th, yeah.
Yeah, 13th, yeah. Okay.
Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have any duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
Yeah, and that's what this is about. Like, petty drug crimes is the funnel of black and brown people to the slave to prison pipeline. You know, prison to slave pipeline.
Where do you, with things like this has been an interesting topic so this is something I learned recently. Like I've read the 13th Amendment, but as a lifelong conservative, it always made sense to me in my head, right? That like, of course you can't have involuntary servitude or slavery, but if you go to prison, like you have to work for it, you have to pay for where you're at. That was my idea. When you talk about like the prison labor, it's a tiny majority of people that are benefiting from that. And I've wondered just to myself, like, what percentage of even Republican leadership understands that this is what's going on? And I would argue it's a tiny minority of people that actually understand this.
What?
On the Republican side.
The prison complex? You don't
Yeah.
think that people understand that what's going on? It's an
I don't.
economic it's an
I
economic
don't.
system. I 100%. You seem like you didn't understand. I think that capitalists in government understand. I mean, you don't remember the goal
No, I'm
is spend as little per prisoner, right?
Yeah.
Keep as many prisoners in prison as possible, the largest labor workforce you can. You know that, remember we were talking about yesterday, Brett Favre and the welfare scandal in Mississippi? You know, he built his D2 volleyball playing daughter a stadium. You know who built that stadium? Prisoners.
I didn't know that.
This is what's going on. Now you
No,
know.
I'm not saying it's not going on. What I'm saying is, I think it's an incredible thing that I would say 90% of elected leaders, Republican elected leaders, don't understand that that's like
But
you could
you have to
explain it to
fathom
them,
a
but
world in which they could
they've never
understand.
connected that in their life. They've never connected in their life that this is some sort of industry. I
But
really don't think
that's
they
privilege.
have.
That's privilege.
100%.
If in fact that is true, and someone is misunderstanding a capitalistic industry involving cheap and slave labor in this country, which is very hard for me to believe. But if in fact they're bribing judges to put people in jail. I mean, they've been caught doing it all over the country.
Yeah, they have. But this is what I'm saying. Like, it 100% is privilege. But I'm telling you, I was one of the more educated Republicans. I never connected that. I've never heard a Republican connect that. And I'm thinking of like having that conversation with the people I've had it with and with my Republican friends. And I don't think they would understand that. And I don't know that the elected leaders understand that. It absolutely comes from a place of privilege. But I think that this is not as well known as like maybe people. It makes sense to people who once you learn it, right? But I'm telling you, I don't think the people on the right have any idea that this is a real thing. I really don't.
Okay.
That's the whole.
I listen.
Like, it's a dumb party. They don't understand
I'm a believer
things.
of you don't know what you don't know, and like it's always if there's one response when I have conversations with Republicans, like the ones who will speak in good faith, I think a lot of the phrase I always am hearing is, "How was I supposed to know that?"
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Yeah.
That's the number one phrase. How was I supposed to know that? And the answer is just that's okay. So you being able to utter that phrase out loud and me understanding that you truly mean that is your privilege. Slapping you in the face. You have the privilege to not be affected by this, right? My dad's half African American, half indigenous, and was in prison when I was a child. And believe me, I intimately know what's going on with the prison system, and it is deeply disturbing.
Yeah. It's just a difficult thing. Like, privilege specifically is such a fucking hard thing to just coming from my standpoint. That was probably the hardest thing I had to accept by far, because you don't want to believe that you had privilege that other people didn't. We all want to believe that we're self-made. We all want to believe that we've earned the things that we've got, and it's really, really difficult to admit that, like, the work that you put in really didn't matter that much. And if I'm going to be 100% honest, somebody brought this up the other day when we were debating. They were talking about, like, grades, and they're like, well, you got good grades in school. I'm like, no, I didn't try hard at all. And I didn't. I never really tried very hard. I never tried hard in school.
Classic white man failing up.
Yeah, the jobs I got were largely because, like, and it continues to right now. A lot of what I've got has been privilege, 100%. Like, I had the ability to speak, and that was about it. I didn't work that hard for the things that I got, and that was one of the hardest things to accept. Eventually, is that, like, yeah, there is privilege. It does exist, and it specifically exists for people like me.
I'm glad we got there in the end. Thank you for coming to that point.
But
because I was really wondering what was happening.
but I really don't think that Republicans understand. Bad Views is a perfect example. His reaction to reading, what did he read?
Yeah, that's what's made me so much more patient with this, and also living in Idaho. When I went to college and played volleyball in Idaho, what I realized was that Mormons, these large groups of concentrated Mormons, they weren't racist. They just had no exposure to anyone.
Correct. Yeah.
And it wasn't that they were trying to say racist things to me. They were just asking me questions that if someone asked me that in downtown Phoenix, I would be, you would know that they were attacking you. But I realized that these people were just asking me questions because they did not know the answers.
Yeah,
so
no, certainly.
That's what has given me so much patience with white people and anti-racist education, I think, is my experience in Idaho. Realizing you can genuinely not know and say what I consider offensive things, but genuinely just want to know the answers.
Where Bad Views went to school in his high school, when I was there was a basketball player that was, I think, maybe 2 years younger than me. Really good player. He was as far as anybody knows, he was the first black player to play at that high school, and this was like 2002, 2003. And it was so bad for him. Like, there were so many things that he had to change schools, which was hard to do at the time. But the school district made an exception for this person to change schools. But in 2002 or 2003, I don't remember what that kid's age was. He, at the school the Bad Views went to, was the first black player to play on the basketball team. First, in like 2003. So, like, when people say I'm too patient with Bad Views, it's the same thing. We didn't understand any of this. They taught none of us this in school. Our teachers didn't understand it. Like, it wasn't even that they were trying to hide it. It's like also how they were taught. And I'll give you a little history lesson. In Utah was settled obviously by the Mormons. The Mormon prophet was Brigham Young. And Mormons will tell you that Brigham Young and the Mormon settlers were or that they sided with the North during the Civil War, and that's kind of it's kind of true. They didn't want slavery, but it's because Brigham Young said, I don't even want black people here as slaves. It wasn't about like help. He's just like, I don't want black people anywhere, so I don't even want them here as slaves. And we never learned that. I learned that maybe right when I started leaving Mormonism.
He said they were demons, like
Correct.
Nephilim, like dark demons. Yeah, I know all about the racism of them. Okay, so when I was a history major in Idaho, I took a bunch of Mormon history classes because that stuff is crazy.
It's cool, huh? It's pretty cool.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Pretty cool.
Mormons are bloodthirsty. So, like, we took an Idaho Mormon history class, and we would go to different sites, and our teacher, who was like, probably a Marxist, was just like, and here's where the Mormons massacred another tribe of Indians, and just like going around. And this class was by and large Mormons. And they were just like on some tour of their history of like carnage and had no idea that the Mormon church was responsible for it. And some of them were like crying and some of them were yelling like, no, we didn't. Like,
yeah, that's what I was expecting you to say.
What are you talking about?
There's something called the Mountain Meadows Massacre that is horrendous that the Mormons did. It was down in Cedar City. When Joseph Smith was assassinated, there was rumors that there were some people from Missouri that were coming through. Well, so Joseph Smith was assassinated in Carthage, but it was people from Missouri. People were chasing him, and there was this group coming through Utah to go to California for the gold rush, and there was just a rumor that there were Missourians in the group, and so they took this entire group of Missourians, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna help you out, like." There's all these native tribes. We're gonna help guide you through so you can be safe. They took these people out. They took their weapons and then they assassinated every single one of them that wasn't a child who couldn't speak. The children who couldn't speak, they were spared and they were just adopted by Mormon families. And this is something that we all denied. There's so many atrocities that we denied.
One day on our live, a Navajo woman came up, and she's one of those children that was in that adoption program that still exists today because they set up all these, adoption programs for children of Native families, which we
called it the Lamanite Placement Program.
Yes.
Yeah, because Mormons believe that the natives were Lamanites, which are in the Book of Mormon. Lamanites, by the way, were Jewish folks whose skin was turned brown because they didn't listen to the prophet. And that's up until I was alive during this time. We had things called the Lamanite training program, and there's horrific stories of maybe this is the one you're talking about. This young girl talking about how she was taught that if she lived righteously, like she would lose the curse on her skin, and her skin would turn more white. And so she was very scrupulous. She tried to keep all the rules, and she refused to go out in the sun. She would wear long sleeves. She would do things like put lemon juice on her arms and on her legs to try and make her skin lighter. It's fucking
I don't
wild.
think you understand, like, around the world and outside of this country even more so, because there's I think regulations against it in this country. Bleaching your skin is a billions upon billions upon billions of a dollar industry. Because in places like the Spanish-speaking world, it's all about colorism. It is about the color of your skin. Like, the whiter your skin is, the higher up you are on the hierarchy in the Spanish-speaking world. And so, yeah, it's billions upon billions of dollars of skin bleaching products.
I was 100. What is a skin bleaching product? What is that?
It's like you're saying, you were talking about like home ready, like lemon juice. It's chemicals that will bleach. It's what Michael Jackson did. Will bleach out the color of your skin.
Is that permanent? Is that something you have to do like your whole life?
It's permanent. It depends on how you do it. I can't believe you haven't heard of this.
Bro,
it's another.
I grew up in the same place Bad Views did, and you're shocked. Like I'm basically like 5 years into being educated on this stuff. So
yeah, this is what goes on. So skin whitening. The global market for skin whitening was estimated at $8 billion in 2020 and projected to increase by nearly half that within 6 years. Women account for almost 80% of the sales because fair-skinned women in Africa and a lot of times are married first. So this is it's like an economic decision too.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's not great.
Um,
Not great.
can I tell you one of my favorite Mormon? There's this movie called Johnny Lingo. Have you ever heard of Johnny Lingo?
Oh God.
This is kind of unrelated, but it was meant as like this feel good story, like how to have confidence, and it's a story of Johnny Lingo, who goes in and Johnny Lingo, of course, is from one of the Pacific Islands, where of course Johnny Lingo is a very typical Pacific Islander name. Most Pacific Islanders are named Johnny, very normal name. But Johnny Lingo is like this really handsome guy. He's very wealthy, and he goes to this father of the daughter, and he says he wants to marry the daughter because that's how they did it. And you would give the daughter, like the dowry would be like a cow or 2 cows or some chickens. So the father asks, I think for something like he knows he knows his daughter's like a 1 cow wife, but he asks for 2 cows. And Johnny Lingo instead offers 10 cows. And nobody's ever heard of anybody being offered 10 cows for a wife, and it's this very homely woman. And then after the marriage, he offers the 10 cow, and then it like cuts at the end, and now she's beautiful. And now she's beautiful because Johnny Lingo showed her that she could be confident because she got 10 cows. And we would watch that at church, and that was like the message to women. That be a 10 cow.
What an uplifting message. I have to tell you sometime, like offline, about my experiences with the Mormon bishops and stuff in Idaho.
I was hoping somebody offered your
not
father
great
cows.
for women. Not great for women. Not a great situation. Like, I think getting out of a cult, this can kind of relate to the far right.
Yeah.
Is directly proportional to your level of misery inside it. Like, you have to hit rock bottom. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of women are like, I can't be in Mormonism anymore, because it's not that great for women. If you're a white male, you can sort of thrive in there. You can hold positions of power. There's upward mobility within the cult. For women, there's nothing for us. Just have babies. Like, no gracias.
No gracias. Let's see. Kat wanted to jump in real quick. What's up, Kat?
Hey, Yacht, Benna. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, hi, Kat. I remember who you are now. Yeah, hey, how are you?
Yeah, I think I was the one that told you guys about the placement program.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me and Nemo. Nice to see you, Kat.
Yeah. So, yeah, excuse me, they phased that out back in 86. That's when I graduated from high school. They made it so it was just high school students that could attend through that program. So it was actually the program that started with my family, because President Kimball, when he was an apostle, he stayed with my great-grandparents for a couple of weeks when he was supposed to be healing, and they actually helped him heal with herbs and prayers and things. And then he had this idea he wanted to help the indigenous people somehow, and that's how they come up with the program. But some of the things that I guess was just the ideology of what our people have already gone through, the government, boarding schools, things like that. So we got a double whammy on that one. It ended up being with the church as well. So most of our Navajo children that went through that program, most of them have left the church.
Oh.
They have realized over a period of time the damage that it was doing in the long run, because most of us don't speak our language fluently. As a child, before I went on the program, I used to read and speak Navajo and write it. So I am just now relearning that. But I have been living off the reservation most of these years because I do have children that I wanted to make sure they got a better education.
Kat, was that you yesterday that sent, I don't remember who it was that sent the message about the healthcare on the reservation? Was that you?
Could have been.
Else?
I don't know. Okay. I'm not sure. But
I just want to say loss of language is one of the main tools of colonization, right?
Yes.
Imperialism and colonization is you can no longer speak your language.
Absolutely. And as far as religion, we couldn't practice our own traditional healing ceremonies until the 70s. So, you know, it's just disheartening that a lot of people don't understand and know what our people have gone through. And, the missing women and children, and even men, we're still dealing with that as well, but you don't hear about it on the news.
What do you
It's
mean
just
missing? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So
a
obviously,
lot of
Missing and
our,
murdered Indigenous women. You don't know about that?
no, not a thing.
really? Oh my
Let's talk
goodness.
about it.
Yeah.
Stop!
So
Don't give me
you,
that look.
you know how, Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped
I
and was
remember that.
missing?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was all over the news. You don't hear that when a black child or a black woman. It's all trafficking, is all it is, basically. But it's in a horrendous way because most of them don't come back alive. Um, and then when it comes to us Indigenous people, you definitely don't hear about it unless we say something about it. So recently, I think in the last couple of years, I have a sister. She's Hopi. She has been Josie. She's on TikTok, so check her out. She's a very good advocate for this. And I just remember growing up, my mama and I used to hitchhike on the highways, sometimes because we didn't have a car, because Daddy would be off doing his tribal council, meetings and things.
Here, I just
So
want to read some statistics. Hold on. So, I just
yes.
want to. The issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women is a complex and multifaceted one that has long been plaguing Indigenous communities in the United States and Canada. According to the Urban
Mhm.
Indian Health Institute, Native American women are more likely than any other racial or ethnic group to experience violence against women. In fact, Native American women are 2.5 times more likely to be murdered than white women.
Yes, and never be found. That's why, when you look into that area and you start listening to these things, like in Canada right now, they're trying to get Canadians to look in the landfills, because that's where they've been putting
There's
bodies.
thousands and thousands of
Yeah,
missing Indigenous
and
women
this has been going on for ages. The boarding schools, the
since
residential
forever.
schools. Yeah, it's something that they have been doing for a long time. So it's just, these things need to be taught. Like yourself,
Yeah,
you
for
didn't know
sure.
about it.
Not
There's a
yeah.
lot of people that don't know about it. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff that, historically, uh, this nation has. Um, I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy, you know. And then just to touch on the Israel Palestine thing, I definitely blame the Hamas. I'm saddened and heartbroken that the humanity is destroyed, because it's on both sides that we're losing people that are innocent. Um, but again, that's where that hate, the anger, the lies, the violence, all that stuff is still being taught. Where I know here in the States it's not as bad, but we're starting to get there. Look at all the laws that are being passed, all these things that the mega Republicans are trying to push through, that the agenda that they're trying to get going again. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. We really need to vote them out and fix the things that they've made.
Can
To
can we can we go back real quick to the missing people? Do we have an idea, either of you? Do we have an idea why the abuse is so much higher? I could think practically, why people might target those areas, where indigenous people are. Like there, if you've ever been to one of, like, I live in the Southwest, right? And my dad grew up not far from, I think, where you grew up, Kat. My dad grew up in Blanding. I have family that's
oh, okay.
in Bluff and Monticello, so we are around that a lot. But like you leave Blanding, there's nothing. You
Yeah,
leave Bluff, there's nothing. And when you go through a lot of these areas, even coming back like through Page, one day I was leaving Page coming back to Phoenix, and I took a different route on accident, and I went through the reservation. There's nothing there, right?
yeah,
There's so
yeah.
if it would
There's
be
one gas station. Say the
yeah,
truth.
it would
Yep.
be there's two now. I think they've really upgraded, but it would be so easy to get away with a crime in those areas, and I'd imagine there's no resources for investigating.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
no
And
there's
we
no cameras, there's no eyewitnesses, there's
right.
Also,
We
think about traditionally like racism and sexism within the
yes.
indigenous community. Women are not protected. Like, there's a common thread you hear when talking about the Palestinians, and something that people who support Israel say was just like they don't value women. And the answer to that is not to try to use that during a conflict to justify what you're doing to Palestinian people.
Right.
The question, like the way you lift people out of those mindsets, those misogynistic societal mindsets that leave women vulnerable to violence, is by infusing that community with education, right?
Right.
Education, like what we're doing right now. You had no idea about
none.
missing and murdered Indigenous women. So
Which
the
is
answer
fucking
is
crazy because
education.
I've driven through there and I've literally thought, like, if somebody wanted to, like, unalive me or somebody wanted to, like, kidnap me, this is the perfect place. Like, I've had that thought in my
Yeah.
head while I was driving
Well, also
through,
think why it's the
but never...
perfect crime. Jurisdictional issues. Who is going to investigate? Native, like
So
on the reservation, those police forces are underfunded for DNA and forensic investigations as well.
right. In our police force, we don't have a very big police force to cover the whole reservation because our Navajo reservation is one of the biggest, and I don't know what the numbers of how many we have, but if anything happens with murder and things like that, it automatically the FBI has to come in and help because we're federally recognized. So when you're looking at these areas and drive through there, to those of you that haven't, you will see the desolate land. They did that purposely
But
because
you're
they
also
were.
then you're also bringing the FBI who has no understanding of that area too, right? Because it's not like you have
No, they do.
agents that are stationed through there.
They do. They have. I guess they have specific ones that come through. They come in and they help us with these things. That is where the investigations get picked up and things like that. But the problem is a lot of these things aren't being reported. And then when they are reported, they're not taken seriously. Um, and the and the roads are really bad. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of paved roads. Electricity, most people don't have electricity. So yeah, if you were to do a perfect crime, yeah, it would be out there.
There's no
And
media coverage like she's
yeah,
originally started with. Like, this
exactly.
has to do with imperialism, the dehumanization of
Yeah,
black and brown cultures. We've been trained over time to not respond in the same way when there's violence against black and brown cultures. That's what we need to understand. This is inherent in the
so
programming of our
now
government.
now what we're doing, and I have noticed, and I've been trying to help with that, is when we see a vehicle that isn't recognized by anybody in the neighborhood, we always let everybody know, hey, watch out for that car or that truck, and who does it belong to? So we're trying to get the word out, and thank goodness we're getting a little bit more technology. So most of us have Facebook. We're still using that to get the word out because there were, like where my brother is living, there was a van that was coming through there and had just parked there, and nobody knew who it was. And those are the type of vans that we have to be leery of because those are the ones that are kidnapping our people. There was a thing going on that they finally busted them that they were picking up a lot of our people that have alcoholism and saying, "Oh, we'll give you a better life. Come with us, and we'll take you to rehab." And they'll go down to Phoenix area and dump them off, and they're lost. They're stuck there, can't get home, and yet that particular facility was getting government money per person that they were bringing in, supposedly helping. I don't know if you heard about that one.
So they're paying like bounties kind of to bring people in,
Yeah, so
or
say like a clinic will get $10,000 per person that they're helping. Okay, so these people were out there pulling our native people, taking them down, saying, "Oh, this, we offer you this food, clothing, housing, or whatever," and yet they dump them off somewhere. Not even close to that particular clinic, and yet that clinic is getting all this funding from the government, and they were pocketing this money. So they got investigated and they finally got shut down, as far as I heard the last time. But it's things like that that people don't understand. And finally, those that are on TikTok, I have seen a few clips where an elderly guy was being lured into a vehicle, and two guys were trying to kidnap him. And it was a young Navajo boy and another young Navajo boy that was saying, "Hey, don't go with them." And they're trying to speak to him in Navajo. And they said, "He's dangerous, don't do that." And so we are trying to be more aware and watching our elderly now. And it's not just women, it's been men as well. So it's just, these are the things that happen all the time. It happens in Farmington. It happens in Gallup. So it's these little cities that are, they're very racist.
I've spent time in both of those places and can confirm.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, the whole, the Mormon thing. I live in Utah, and so and
are you in that southeastern area?
Actually, no, I'm central.
Okay.
Closer to Provo, Salt Lake area.
Okay.
So
I grew up in Utah County.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'll be moving back home soon. I'm excited. So my son is graduating.
Where is the reservation that you're moving back to?
The Navajo reservation.
Is that the one that's like just outside of Blanding?
Close to Window Rock.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm on the New Mexico side.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited, but I'll be going back and forth because my kids want to stay here in Utah. But I'll be moving back home. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of stuff I want to work on when I go home because they want me in politics. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't speak fluent Navajo yet. And they're like, no, you still need to do it. I'm like, no, just because my daddy did it, I'm not going to do it as much. But so we'll see.
Well, I would love to have you keep us posted on that. And obviously this is a huge fucking blind spot for me. So I appreciate you being kind and explaining it. And anytime this is the kind of stuff that like you never know until you know.
Go over to Native TikTok. You'll learn a lot. Those of you that don't know a lot about us, Indigenous, Native Americans, we're still here. We're alive. we're still here. So right, Felice? So yeah.
And get all of us.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I love you guys. May you all walk in beauty. Have a good week.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Kat.
Bye
bye. Let's see. That. Oh, you changed.
It's hot. I don't know how you wear sweaters in Arizona.
It's not a sweater. Look how thin this is. Just take a look.
Okay.
It's thin. It's thin. Keeps you cool. No sympathy for maggots. This person does not like maggots. Welcome. Maybe not. All right. That is somebody who's either very industrial or is having some digestive issues. I didn't quite figure that one out.
That was a robot.
That was a robot. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to what Kat said? I had no idea. I've had a bunch of people. Someone said, watch Wind River. I don't know. There were a whole bunch of things that people tagged me in. I don't know if you wanted to add anything more. You're muted.
I don't know what Wind River is. But
I think it's a movie. It has what's his face in it.
Just get prepared. It's heavy stuff.
Allie, I don't know if Allie's here. I think maybe Allie was the one that yesterday was talking about the healthcare. She said the FBI was created because of the Osage murders. Do you know what that is? I don't know what that is.
Osage County. Isn't that a county in Texas?
I don't know. Do you know what it is?
Well, I do not. Not the murders.
A series of murders of Osage Native Americans in Osage County, Oklahoma in the 1910s and 1930s. Newspapers described the increasing number of unsolved murders and deaths among young adults as the Reign of Terror. Most took place from 1921 to 1926. Some 60 or more wealthy, full-blood Osage persons were reported killed from 1918 to 1931. Whoa. Okay, I'll check that. Wind River, I think maybe I'm wrong. Is that the one with what is that guy's name? He's one of the Marvel superheroes. The one with that shoots the bow and arrow. I know you don't watch movies, so this isn't good. There we go. Jeremy Renner. That's who we're talking about.
Oh, I like Jeremy Renner.
I think is that Wind River. I think he's in.
He
that.
got in a fight with a snowplow, didn't he?
Is that what I thought it was a snowmobile accident? I don't know what it was.
No, I
He did get really hurt.
Is he okay?
Wait, let's keep laughing at Jeremy Renner.
I'm not laughing. I think it.
Allie, what's up?
Snowplow accident. Suck it.
Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to chime in a little bit on some of the indigenous stuff. Like, so the Osage murders were, you can see an okay representation of them in the new movie Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
I was not a big fan of the movie myself because they really told the white man's story instead of the Osage story. But
yeah, you guys were talking about that in the Discord the other day, right? You say it's like 3.5. Is that the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, so I mean, it's an okay movie. Yeah, it's that one. But you'll get an idea for some of what has happened. Like, I would recommend anybody, if you really want to understand, like, the depth of atrocity against the indigenous people of this country, just take your basic history of the American Indians in America class, or like, there's just so many things. You can study the Trail of Tears. You can study boarding schools. You can study allotment. You can study all kinds of horrendous things that a lot of those policies are still carrying through today. You know, when people refer to the genocide of our Native American people in the past tense, it pisses me off so bad because a lot of those things are still happening today, and people don't understand that. Like, we still have not provided adequate restoration or even stability for a lot of our indigenous communities. They tend to be some of the like, a lot of our indigenous reservations tend to be the most impoverished places in the country. A lot of them tend to, you know, we have the MMIW crisis currently. We still are seeing challenges to ICWA. We're still seeing all kinds of really horrendous effects of how we've treated our indigenous people today. So I just highly would recommend, I just want to say that I highly recommend educate yourself on it because it'll blow your mind. And if you want to know about the other genocides around the world and how they come up with that stuff, they took a page out of how we treated and still treat our indigenous population here. That's really kind of it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. So you'd say, is there a better source than watching the movie then?
Yeah, I mean, it's always better to, you know, try to find accounts of the Osage themselves, or try to find accounts that are going to be more centered around the story of the people that were affected instead of the people who were perpetrating the crime. That was the problem that I had with the movie, is it was more centered around the people that perpetrated the crime than it was around the people that were affected by the crime.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Crimes,
okay.
Plural, yeah. So, you know, there's lots of material out there, but just in general, like, if anybody, I don't know if people are nerds like I am, but if you get the chance to take, like, a, you know, just a miscellaneous college course or something, take one on Native American history, because even just the basic fundamental 101 class is going to absolutely blow your mind, and it's going to shake the foundation of who you think this country is if you haven't already arrived there.
It's pretty wild. Like, anything we learned about Native American history in high school for us was more about, like, how they interacted with the Mormon settlers, and it was such a it was presented as, like, this collaborative, like it was presented as this like mutually beneficial agreement, and so it's been wild in the last 5 or 6 years to, like, to see what actually happened. I mean, even just the amount of wealth, the amount of gold that was stolen by the Mormon settlers from the native people. It's wild.
Yeah, let's look at, you can even see, you know, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, right? And we painted a picture that it was just this happy feast between the settlers and the Native Americans, and that there was no atrocity that occurred there. That is not what happened. That is not how any of that works. And I would highly, even if you just want to do something pertinent to the holiday season, look up and read about the reality of the history of Thanksgiving and how it was not peaceful, and it was not this fun, great sharing communal time of two different peoples coming together, there were horrendous atrocities happening from the very first time that we set foot on this continent. You can look up the smallpox numbers. There were estimated to be, I think, something like 18 million indigenous people on Turtle Island until, I think it was the Spaniards brought smallpox over and wiped out almost all of them down to, I think the estimates were like 2 million to 3 million, just through smallpox alone. And so a lot of Mexico was conquered just with smallpox. And so there's a lot of history there that I think go ahead, please, sorry.
I was going to say, I like to talk about this. This is just some history about this. And the War for America, it was essentially one of the main weapons that it was used to fight was zoonotic illness. And if you don't, zoonotic illness is the majority of viruses that we have, right? It comes with living in close quarters with animals, which during those times, like the 16th, 17th, 18th century, people were still living in very close quarters with the animals when they were first coming to America, like in their homes in some cases. So viruses were jumping from in Europe, in Western civilization, from these animals to people. That's what you saw with the bubonic plague, like the Spanish flu, these viruses that nearly wiped out Western civilization. Now, when they went to Europe, the issue was, and why the Native Americans were not equipped to fight a war of zoonotic illness, is because the Native Americans did not live in close quarters with animals. They were not domesticating animals. They didn't have an immunity built up of North American zoonotic illnesses to fight back against the Europeans with. The Europeans brought all their zoonotic illness, all their animals, and just threw it at the Native Americans, but they didn't have zoonotic illnesses and immunities built up to throw back at them. It's quite fascinating. I read a book on it.
Is there not to make light of it, but is there any amount like recognizing now that like MAGA after all of this, after everything that they've stood for, how much they defend colonization, imperialization, now they just don't believe in vaccines now? I think there's a little bit of irony there.
It's interesting because I think that our perception of our indigenous peoples now is very, very different than it has been for a long time, and in modern history anyway. And I think that there is this romantic.
We might have lost you, Allie. Allie, we're losing you. Sorry, I don't. Your service is bad, I think. I think we lost her. Allie, when you have a little bit better service, come back in. What does RTP stand for? It doesn't really stand for much. It used to stand for Riding the Pine. What the shit?
Oh yeah, this happens sometimes. People, it's just the live's glitching. People will leave the live and you can still hear them. Yeah, that's something I've definitely experienced.
Oh,
before.
neat. This is not what I expected to talk about.
Can I
today.
just say something about what's going on the House floor?
Please.
Oh God, how Lauren Boebert's never had an original idea in her life ever.
Ever.
They're debating, how they tried to cut all that funding from the IRS or offset what they were going to send to Israel, the $14 billion they were going to send to Israel by cutting billions from the IRS. Yeah. Okay, well, they're debating something about that on the House floor right now. Lauren Boebert is on the House floor. I guess Lauren Boebert's, this comes from Matt Gaetz. This is Matt Gaetz rhetoric. He's an ANCAP, right? Matt Gaetz is an ANCAP. She's on the floor yelling taxation is theft. It's like, oh God.
She's so remarkable.
She listened to a YouTube ANCAP debate. Now she's yelling taxation is
She
theft.
didn't. She's reading it. She didn't listen to the debate. Somebody wrote it down for her.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, can we hear it?
What she's talking about.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Here, I'll send it to
you. Somebody put a picture of her with. She's wearing the 45 hat, the Trump 45 hats.
I posted it in general chat.
Okay.
So everyone could.
All right, let's see. I'll post this
is theft. And arming 87,000 IRS agents to go after the hardworking middle class well, that's just flat out armed robbery. Mr. Chair, I urge my colleagues to support my amendment, and I yield. Thank you.
Back on the floor, talking crazy talk.
She always speaks like she speaks like she's going to get applause. Like when she said taxation is theft, well, with that dumb little smirk, that's just armed robbery. Like that works in a circle of like a bunch of dumb people.
Anarchy capitalists. If you're talking to Peter Thiel, trying to get him to fund your business, that's what I would yell.
First of all, anybody who says taxation is theft, just like forever shut the fuck up. It doesn't even make sense. That argument doesn't make sense. If the government gives you money that they circulate with their name on it, and then they take back some of that money that you make to pay for things, it's not theft. It wasn't yours in the first place. It wasn't your money. It was not your money. It was theirs in the first place. I don't understand how that can even be theft. It's a really stupid thing.
I hate, ANCAP debates are, I mean, they're philosophical. It's like, you go farthest to the right and farthest to the left, you're just having philosophical debate at that point.
I hate philosophy. How do you feel about philosophy?
I almost was a philosophy major before I decided on history.
You would have been
that should
so
answer your
annoying.
question. I won't send you any philosophy TikToks.
You would have been so annoying.
I don't, listen,
would not
here,
have
let me,
liked you.
this is important. This is something I want to say, because, you do like debate format, but what I really liked about you debating was it's more of a conversation in good faith, and it's simple. Like, my problem with debate, and I was on a speech and debate team, is that it's white supremacist. That's my claim. Now let me explain how.
Please.
Like, when you are debating, the format of debate is inherently white supremacist and patriarchal. It eliminates people from the conversation. If you don't have the education, if you don't have the right outfit, if you don't have the vocabulary, if you don't know debate format, if you can't stay calm because you start bubbling up with anger and crying when you're talking about an issue because it's so deeply personal to you, that goes against you in debate format. It systematically eliminates minority groups from the conversation, lower socioeconomic groups, people who have less money to become educated, and that's what I don't like about it. Also, when people are listening to speech and debate, right, the format and the vocabulary is limits, right? When you start hearing philosophical debate format, 98% of people stop listening because it doesn't make any sense to you.
Yeah, I think that the same goes when people are talking about, and I know you've said this, like you hate abortion debates, and I'm guessing that's why. Because that's the point.
So I want to discuss the real life issue today. I don't need to hear philosophical debate format about how white men want to best each other on Twitch, arguing about that's not going to help. That doesn't help anyone with a uterus. But you guys got a W that day. I don't want to debate to win. I want to debate for the good faith conversation that we should all be having.
Yeah, the debate that starts with what's your position, and then they all walk through, like, because they've all heard it before, and then they walk through 20 steps and like, okay, this is where we're at, this is where we're at, and then they're like, now we're going to talk about sentience. It's like, for fuck's sakes, like you're literally talking about a person's like own body, and we're having a debate about it. And the hard part for me in watching most of those is that there's this level to those debates, or not level to this debate. There's a point in every one of those debates where there's friction, where neither side can get their point across, and then it becomes a bunch of usually white dudes yelling at women that they're emotional, right? And just saying like, "Oh, why are you so emotional about this?" And that was the part that would infuriate me
because our lives are on the line. Yeah, and that's the problem with debate. White males have no skin in any game, right? They're the least oppressed people in the society, so they're like, "Why are you so emotional?" I'm in the trenches taking grenades while you're sitting here talking about sentience. Like this, you have the privilege of this not affecting you, and you're not living in fear.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you don't do them. I try and avoid that debate as much as I possibly can. Who was? Yeah, Parker advocates pro-life. I don't know if Parker's in here. You can talk to Parker about that. I don't share Parker's opinion. Somebody was in the box just barely. And we had somebody was saying that there we were. Let me find this. Can somebody invite? Who was it that Coyote 6183? Coyote says using government costs too much money. It's horribly inefficient. Also said I seem like the type of person that can't do anything without the government holding my hand. Coyote, you're welcome to come up and talk about that. We'd love some debate at some point today. I don't like just hearing
We have
myself
drawn
talk.
out an ANCAP. I don't.
Oh, did you? Was this your doing?
No, I'm saying is that he sounds like an ANCAP.
Yeah, it's a silly thing. It's silly. I don't think you could live your life with the government holding your hand. I don't even think that's an option in this country.
I'm pointing out
That'd be
the
cool.
irony of Lauren Boebert yelling taxation is theft when she is paid by the U.S. government. Does anybody see the overwhelming irony of being on the House floor as a government employee, screaming at the top of your lungs, taxation is theft? It's like, follow that line of logic, Lauren. You're robbing us all. By your own logic, you are a thief.
She doesn't know that. She doesn't. She has no idea. Where is Coyote? She was. We talked about this earlier, but do you think there will be a reckoning within the GOP? Do you think, or I guess when will that reckoning happen, where they will realize that at some point they picked the dumbest people and this is a losing battle? How much more losing do they have to do before they recognize they have to make a change?
Well, they're going through the stages of grief, right? What are the stages of grief? Like, first it's like rage, and then it's like sadness, and then it's like bargaining. You're like, well, if I'll do this, if like just like the Republican Party doesn't implode, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's anger, bargaining. So are we at bargaining right now?
Yeah, well, like so they did horrible yesterday. It was election day yesterday. They did horrible, and they're on Fox today. The rhetoric seems to be, well, just because we did bad in local elections doesn't mean this isn't good for Joe Biden. You know, now they're trying to focus on everyone still hates Joe. It's like local elections are what matters. The Republicans' power lies in their holds on local legislatures, state legislatures, if you ask me.
So now next is guilt. So where are they going to... Is the guilt...
Oh, the white guilt is pervasive. That's what's going on. People are... like, that's what it is people waking up and seeing like, oh, this society is structured in a way that is systemically racist, and being faced with that's why we want to take anti-racism education and anything about slavery out, because they don't want people knowing, they don't want people seeing, oh, this is what happened. And once people do start seeing, the reaction can be like you're like, oh, I'm a rational person. I've been presented with facts. I'm learning things. And now I understand, my worldview is changing. That's what a rational human being would do. That's like bad views, right? I've been presented with facts. I'm changing my worldview. Now, the opposite side of that, and what we're seeing, the reaction to that is the far right. I've been presented with something that is jarring, that I don't know what to do with, so I'm going to react violently against that. I will violently work to conserve the way of life that I know, because people hate change. You have to force people kicking and screaming to change.
So how do you think the Republican Party, the big voices, the ones who gained more notoriety, more power, pre-Donald Trump, it was like Ben Shapiro, right? Ben Shapiro was the man. But now, during Trump, you've seen a huge rise from Charlie Kirk, from Matt Walsh, from now Tim Pool, who went from like, I'm a moderate to alt-right seemingly overnight. Candace Owens. There are all these people with a lot, Steve Bannon. There are all these people with real power within the GOP. And I don't see them conceding any of these points. I don't see them conceding on abortion. I don't see them conceding on even, like, they're doubling down now on gay marriage. I don't see them conceding when it comes to the rights of trans people. I don't know how this plays out. It's so different than a normal political party.
It is
fractured.
It's about economics. You're talking about a deep-seated economic thing that has to do with capitalism. So what happened is, and I worked in advertising, so this is a well-known thing that a lot of people understand, is that the YouTube alt-right pipeline, that was a decision. That was an advertising, that was a revenue decision. The YouTube alt-right pipeline on YouTube is largely known to have created MAGA. It was single gamers right? Single male gamers who did not have a group around them of friends to reality test and say this is crazy. It would start with like a Ben Shapiro debate. That was the gateway drug to the YouTube alt-right pipeline. And then you end up, next thing you know, you're a flat earther wondering what happened to you. But think about the hours and hours that each one of these single male gamers was spending on YouTube. All of that time they can run ad content against. YouTube made billions and billions and billions of dollars off the creation of MAGA.
Yeah.
That was an economic decision that they made that was well known in the tech industry. That's
Gamergate.
where MAGA came from. Yeah,
that's it. They cover that a lot in Mindfucked. Which have you read yet?
No, I have not read
God
yet.
damn it,
Sorry, I'm working on many books.
Well,
many
read
books.
that one. My youngest brother he loves gaming, and he same thing. Like he didn't really want it. He moved to Phoenix, so he had left like most of his friends behind. He moved here. He was working from home, and then he would just game. And he wound up in these Discord groups, and it was interesting. He's smart enough.
Jack Teixeira's.
Yeah, but I don't know what group he was in.
The secret documents. That's
but
what Jack Teixeira did. He had a Discord. He was giving government documents to his friends. That kid that they caught.
Yeah, I just don't know if he was in that one or not. I doubt it. But he's smart enough to. He's really, really careful about being indoctrinated. So he was in these groups, and he started texting me all sorts of like alt-right questions, and it was interesting. But that's what he said. Like it starts off for him with like, he's from a predominantly white area where like racist jokes are just they're not hurting anybody, so you don't see the impact of them, right? Yeah. So you make a racist joke, nobody's really hurt. It's all fun and games. There's no impact. So it starts with that in those groups, and that's what he said. He's like, yeah, I just had these friends who would like. They would make a bunch of schmatzy jokes, and they would make a bunch of anti-Semitic jokes. He's like, but then, like as it got bigger, he started asking more questions. And what was interesting is suddenly he was like, out of nowhere, he was like, I fucking love Elon Musk. It's like I love Elon.
Oh, that's one of the stages. That's one of the stages.
And we're all like, wait, what? Elon? And then there's just been like little things, and he's really open-minded. My youngest brother is a sweetheart, super open-minded. So he won't take any of that at face value, but it's been interesting to see how those online communities get co-opted by the alt-right.
Let me tie it together. I want to tie it back together for you really quick, because what I was talking about, you were talking about Steve Bannon and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, and I'm telling you that what they've made is an economic decision. When the YouTube alt-right pipeline was created to make YouTube the billions and billions of ad revenue, what popped up were these cottage, media companies like Daily Wire, who had an opportunity to capitalize off that revenue. Whoever would get into the YouTube alt-right pipeline and make content for it became wildly, wildly rich. MAGA has become now a financial vehicle and a cottage industry in capitalism. And the Daily Wire, which is owned by Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh, is a perfect example of a company that got wildly wealthy off rage farming.
Yeah. I saw an interview recently with Ben Shapiro. And how he got the funding. Now, he got his money from Ferris Wilks, and if you guys want to do a deep dive into Ferris Wilks and see what he's funded and what he's all about, it's interesting that Ben Shapiro is funded by somebody who's so alt-right. Ben Shapiro, a very prominent and outspoken Jewish person, is funded by Ferris Wilks. But Ben Shapiro's pitch to him, I heard this the other day, and I was like, it was Ben Shapiro saying this. He's like, he went to Ferris Wilks and he basically said, Ferris Wilks said, well, I get pitched on right-wing stuff all the time. Why would I choose you? And he's like, because I'm going to make you a whole bunch of fucking money. Because I know how to do this. Daily Wire was not founded. It was not a pitch to educate people. It wasn't a pitch to promote policy. It wasn't a pitch to promote values. It was a pitch that I'm really fucking good at this and I'll make money. It was one of the most transparent Ben Shapiro moments I've ever seen. And I saw it on Twitter, where my Twitter is basically just a bunch of alt-writers, so I can see what they're talking about. And it had the music behind it. It was like a motivational video of Ben Shapiro just admitting that he's doing this entire thing for money. But yeah, if you want to look into old Ferris Wilks.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I got out of advertising. The higher up you go, specifically in digital advertising, you have to throw out any ethics and morals that you have, because you're essentially reverse engineering outcomes for financial gain. You're saying, what do I want somebody to believe? And then you're reverse engineering a process that makes them believe that. Like the things working for Fortune 500 companies basically stripped me of my belief in America. And that's why I always talk about a Harvard study just came out and said, like, we always like to say MAG is in a cult or whatever. It's across the political ideological spectrum. Nobody has free will anymore. All of our outcomes are reverse engineered by advertising, psyops.
Do you want to talk about your exit?
No.
No.
Okay. No, I can't. Legally.
No, not specifically, right? You don't have to say where you're at, but can you vaguely talk about, like...
No, I don't. You don't talk about, first rule of working in the tech industry, you don't talk about the tech industry. Are you crazy? You think I'm going to sit on this platform and talk about, no.
No. I was saying, like, more internally, like your internal battle.
They shut people's lives off.
I was talking about more of your internal battle of, like, when you decided... Yeah. Sorry, I'm not asking you to spill the dirt on, like, tech industry.
Never would. You never talk about a past employer, regardless. But definitely don't talk about someone that could flip a switch and shut your life off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I think for a lot of my life, like, I realized I was asleep at the wheel. Like, I just operated, like, I describe it like I was living in a video game. Like, I could see myself as a third person. Like, things didn't bother me. I did great in corporate America because that's what it is. It's like, who can divorce themselves from emotions, morals, and ethics? And that's what I was great at doing. I was dissociated from life. And I think the farther along I went in the advertising industry and my job became to work directly with Fortune 500 companies and sort of create propaganda, if you will. I just started to see things that were grossly unethical, in my opinion. So yeah, and then I just started waking up. It's like once I started to see one thing, then you start to see another, then you start to see another, and it's like you can no longer push down what is bubbling up inside you, like the rage, the despair. The tech industry is 90% male, 10% female. Like that has a lot to do with some of the stuff going on, and I disappeared into South America. I started the last 6 months of my job. I just pretty much sat there, like, planning to disappear into South America and, like, change my life. And then once I went to South America and I was living, like, in the jungle for a while, like, then in seeing communal societies, like actual communism, no stateless, moneyless, classless societies, trading goods and services and sustaining themselves, it was like life-changing. And I had all of this stuff, like I like liquidated all my things, like capitalism, consumerism, like it's a disease. And I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm working on figuring out what I want my role in capitalism to be. Like, how can I make money ethically? Like, align my values with, how to survive. And that's sort of what I'm figuring out.
Yeah. As you, do you remember, was there like obviously can't go specifics. Is there a catalyst or like a tipping point that you remember? Was there like a fuck it moment?
No, this is the thing about me. I think I live life by like a crazy philosophy. It's almost psychopathic. Like, I have to be ready to lose it all at any moment. Because, like, if you have nothing anyone can take from you, then no one can ever leverage you.
So that's crazy. That's fucking insane.
Well, I mean, it's very Machiavellian. You should read The Prince.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's why, I think sometimes, at least my view, from what I've heard from others, like when you run those lives with Nemo, you're running them on a Friday and Saturday night, which is like when the craziest people come out. And you guys get you get way crazier people than me. I get people in the morning who are relatively stable most of the time. But your ability to hear crazy shit and not react, like me, I'll get far more emotional than you, and your ability to do that, I think that probably is just like your life in corporate America, right? You're like you've learned that behavior. That
okay, well, if we're sharing some things about ourselves, this started when I was a child. Like, I was raised in a very abusive system by malignant narcissists, and when you're raised like that, like, so Trump is to me like a walk in the park. Trump is my mother. Like, I know I know. Listen, I've already played this game. I already survived it once. Like you guys have no idea what you're in for. He's not going to stop until someone stops him. Just saying. But yeah, so when you are raised fundamentally, and this is why I'm so into psychology and I'm always reading psychological journals, when you're raised in an abusive system, like it becomes easier to survive in them. Like I say, I like to survive in chaos. Like when things are the worst, that's when I see opportunity and thrive. So it just comes with like, that's why I went to Division I athletics, another very abusive system.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Then I went to corporate America. Oh, an abusive system I could thrive in? Surprise, I'm great at it because I've done it since I was like my earliest memory.
Coyote showed up. What's up, Coyote? You might be. You're probably muted. I muted you because you had some background noise. Hey.
Yeah, having connection issues. How you doing? Yeah, I got muted because they wanted me to get in the box. I kind of figured once I got in the box, people would complain anyways, so that's why I didn't opt to do that right away. But Reese was talking about...
Yeah, it's just hard to hear you, brother. It's just so much background noise. All right. Come back up when you're pulled over. I really do want to talk to that person, but unfortunately, can't hear a goddamn thing. Sorry, Coyote. I understand what you're saying. Everybody's giving you shit that you wouldn't get in the box, but your audio's bad. It's not your fault. Come back later. There was our first. It's 11:52, and that was our first op. But I do think.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to the For You page. Share the live with your favorite Republican.
I do. It seems like your call out of the former president has led to something here.
Well, yes, we did very well last night. We did great. The people that I handpicked, they lost because of Mitch McConnell, and I'm airing my grievances because of that. Mitch McConnell.
What did old Tricky Mitch do that cost you guys the election last night?
Well, you know, they embraced Mitch McConnell too much. It's very hard to get around Mitch McConnell. He seems
like an easy guy to get around. He can barely move.
That's true. That's so true. You're so true. And the thing is, what we did last night was we reinforced the MAGA brand. The MAGA brand is a losing brand, apparently, and we want to keep losing, and that's what we're doing. And we're losing so well. We've lost so many elections. If you look at what we did in 2016, it was magical. But then we lost in 2018, 2020, 2022, 2023. But don't worry, Donald Trump is running in 2024, and we're going to win big. We're going to win big because we've lost so much. It's time to win again.
Is it possible that what you said was true? People got tired of winning. I remember in 2016 you said you guys are going to get so tired of winning. Is that possibly what happened?
Well, a lot of people are tired of everything. You know, nobody knows tiredness like Donald Trump. We're very tired. And a lot of people, you know, say that we've worn off on them. We've given them bad juju, and so they don't like juju.
Do you have anything? Oh, sorry. Do you have anything to say about your girlfriend/daughter testifying today?
Well, I think she's very pretty. She's I would be dating her if she wasn't my daughter. And she's not as good looking as Felice. Wow, what a smoke show.
There we go. What about me? I can't get a compliment over here?
Well, RTP, you know, we don't like to have tendencies because the radical left will say that we are in support of them. But I would say that you are a very semi-attractive person, probably not as attractive as me, but that's hard because nobody does attractiveness like me. But wow, Felice, what a smoke show. So true. Don't tell Melania.
Okay. Where is Melania?
Well, like I said, she went to Walgreens like 3 weeks ago, and I haven't seen her since. It's actually longer than 3 weeks ago now. It's been probably close to 4 months. I have no idea where the hell she is. Do you know where she is?
I have no idea.
Well, my kids, they're in court. You know, Donald Jr.'s in daycare, and we had to take him out of daycare to send him into court. And now Ivanka is in court. And it's unbelievable that these people think that they can go against their father who raised them and throw him under the bus, because if anybody throws people under the bus, nobody does it as well as Donald Trump. And shame on them for living in their father's image. It's very scary when you're on the other side of it. I've created monsters. I've raised monsters, and these people are total monsters. Felice, I understand what you're talking about. Your mother, she's a malignant narcissist, and we've raised a lot of monsters. Maybe you're a monster. I don't know, but it's scary. It's very scary right now. I'm very scared.
Well, hey, I sent you a weighted blanket. I know that in times of trouble, oftentimes a weighted blanket can help you feel safe and secure. So I'm gonna let you go. If you could run out to Amazon, should have dropped it off. There's a weighted blanket there waiting for you at the front door, and I'm sorry that your daughter blew the case for you today. I apologize for that. That's
Well,
devastating.
it's unbelievable. She blew it, and wow, that's crazy. But the weighted blanket, that's from Jeff Bezos, the radical Washington Post.
Yeah, he sends his love.
Yes, and that is ridiculous. Why would you send me that radical blanket?
Uh, just put it on. It's gonna calm me down there, Mr.
I need a lot of anxiety medication. So true.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm gonna drop you now.
We love you.
Boom. Ripped him off. Did you see what she testified to today?
Who?
Ivanka.
Oh, Ivanka. I
Yeah.
read who is it? Lisa Rubin, who I follow
Yeah.
her on Twitter. She gives like updates, but yeah, I mean,
So one of the
Ivanka's not
updates-
trying to save anyone but herself.
Well, one of the updates that came out today is that Attorney General Letitia James apparently had some ammo in her pocket. The final agreement for the Deutsche Bank loan required that Donald Trump, as the guarantor, had a minimum net worth of $2.5 billion. Originally, it was $3 billion. That's what the bank was requiring, and it was 2.5. But she pulled out. She has an email that shows that Ivanka personally proposed a change to lower the net worth requirement for her father to $2 billion. And she admitted that she knew that her father was overinflating his net worth, which at the time he declared was $4.2 billion on the statement of financial condition. So she threw her husband under the bus earlier, and then her father under the bus. It's back to back. Ivanka's just wreaking havoc on this.
Well, originally she lied. She said, because they asked her the question before the evidence, and she said no. And then they're like, "Well, you know what I mean?
Here's an email.
Here's the thing about that. Like, here's the thing about your answer. It seems like you're lying. Yeah, it's bless her. She tried to get away, but I want to. This is something I want to say because about Don Jr. Like Z-Pack always says that he's dumb. Don Jr. and if you listen to Michael Cohen's podcast or the one Mea Culpa, like he always talks about Don Jr. is the smartest child. He is the genius of the children. And like I see, you always say you have sympathy for the Trump children. Well, I'm telling you, I was raised by a malignant narcissist, and like I understand what Junior's doing. Junior has a substance abuse problem because he's in living hell. You know what I mean? He's desperate for his dad's love. He will do anything to try to get his dad's approval. He can't get it, and it's slowly killing him. Trust me. I understand that life.
Well, that's why Donald
I've
Trump
lived
became
that
who
life.
he was. He couldn't get his father's approval. He wasn't.
Yeah, and now he created another monster. But Don Jr. is highly intelligent. Like Michael Cohen always talks about how, and he is the one that is treated like a dog by his father. Michael Cohen said like it would be so uncomfortable in meetings because Trump would just go off in front of like 10 people and just dehumanize Junior.
Well, he was mad at Junior originally because as Junior came out of school, he wanted nothing to do with the family business. He moved to Colorado. I'm trying to remember what he was doing. It was something like it was so far outside of what they did, but then essentially Daddy said like, hey, you're going to be part of this or you're not. Like, you're either going to get this money or you're not. And Don Jr. came back. But from everything I've read, Mary Trump's book, did you read her book by chance? Probably not.
I did not read her book, but I've like heard her talk about it. You know what I mean? I follow her on Twitter.
Her explaining like what happened with Don Jr. And who he was, and then essentially those substance abuse problems, according to her, happened exactly like you said. When he came back into the fold, He was constantly publicly being humiliated. He was being called dumb by his dad in front of people, in front of business partners. Because that's the truth is that Donald is threatened by anybody, including his own children. If his children get shine, I fully believe that's why he talks about his daughter the way that he does, is because he wants to put the emphasis on her looks and her beauty, and he doesn't want to
either
talk
you're
about
with
her.
a narcissist, they're God, right? So either you're in direct competition with that, which is like Junior and Eric. He will not let them rise up. He does not want to see his sons succeed. You see that every day. He stifles them. And then or in Ivanka's case, you're a direct extension of the narcissist. Like he sees like, she is me. Any praise she gets for her looks is because of me, because of my DNA. Both are terrible. Whether you're the golden child or the scapegoat in a narcissistic family, it's awful.
Now, interestingly enough, I don't think she has anything to lose here in this case. She's not really part of the Trump organization. She's not going to be hurt by any of this. So it's interesting to see like the testimony bringing down the family. And she essentially, ever since January 6th, she's like, fuck it, I'm not doing this with the family. She's not out there campaigning. She's not out there defending her dad. You don't see a coked up podcast from her, which would be fun. But she left the family a long time ago. So it shouldn't be terribly surprising that she's showing up now and just like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going down with these fuckers. And I do feel bad for Eric and for Don Jr. They've been told what to do. They have to listen to their dad, and they're going to go down. This is going to ruin their life too.
Yeah, it's that Stockholm syndrome. They're in love with their captor. Like the Stockholm syndrome is the phenomenon when you start feeling empathy for your captor, like kidnapped victims or like in hostage situations. They have Stockholm syndrome. You'll do anything for approval, and that's what you see them doing. Whereas like Michael Cohen says, Ivanka is like a robot. Like she cares about her image. Like she won't give a non-scripted interview. There has to be a script. He's like, I don't think I ever saw like a real moment with her. But that's also probably a defense mechanism.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I keep getting a phone call. Can you cover it for a second? Give me 1 sec.
What should we talk about? I'm gonna check the Discord. I find it hard to care about Don Jr. Yeah, no, listen, I want to be clear. I'm not suggesting people feel sorry for Don Jr. Like, we can all very much be victims as children, but once you are an adult, you are responsible for your behavior. So, yes, maybe he's doing this, I believe, in service to please his father, but when you're yelling out anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, misogynistic rhetoric, bigoted rhetoric, you're trying to literally social engineer groups out of existence, then yeah, you're absolutely responsible for that. I just want to make that 100% clear.
Did I miss anything good?
I just don't give me a soapbox. Like,
take the soapbox, run with it.
No, I was just explaining that, John. I'm not saying feel sorry for Don Jr. I can be of two minds, right? Like that's how my mind works. I can understand the pain that created Don Jr., but once, if you're choosing to live life as a monster, then you're a monster, right? That doesn't absolve you from responsibility for your actions as an adult. And that's sort of like my journey. And you said, like, why are you so patient with people? I think you don't know what you don't know. Like, I've had a lot of time, like the last 4 years have just been a learning experience for me. So I'm patient with people because I've seen my own change. But yeah, everybody is responsible for their own actions. 100%. It's on an 8. Oh my God. So, yeah.
I wanted to read something that we talked about yesterday. This was a tweet I forgot I had saved. So this was from, I don't know who it was. It's a former Jill Biden aide. And let's see if I can get all of this. Yeah. So there's an interview she did, but she just basically said, like, looking at the new CNN poll where Trump has higher favorables and Biden has higher unfavorable, I thought this was actually really astute. She said, this is inexcusable for a man universally known for his character integrity. It's a result of failing to respond to smears, lies, and disinformation for months, allowing a void of information to be filled. What do you think about that politically? Like what the Bidens have done, the Biden team has done? Because I've largely been complimentary of the Bidens by
Can
staying.
you read it one more time? I'm sorry. Just read it
Yes.
one more time.
Yeah. This is inexcusable for a man universally known for his character and integrity. It's a result of failing to respond to smears, lies, conspiracies, and disinformation for months, allowing a void of information to be filled.
And that's about Biden.
It's a former Biden aide.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as a PR person, I don't understand the messaging coming out of the White House. Yeah, I think that the amount of missed opportunities are large, but he has a PR team of experts. So I also have to believe my opinion on the lack of responses to things and taking the high road and all of that.
But if the PR team are experts and he's getting killed in these polls, do you think that they're saying like we're going to play the long game here? Is that the idea?
Oh yeah, I think that, and you probably know this, I think it's way too early to care about polls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're thinking like activate now. We need to get out there and do something about this. No, I don't think they obviously don't feel that way.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean I have more opinions on it. The question is, I think it has to do with what can he bear? Like, right? They're biding their time, trying to figure out what's good for him. It probably has a lot to do with, him personally and what's going on with him and what he thinks is important. Because you can't make someone go on a PR campaign.
It's true, and I wonder if they're just that confident in the information that's going to come out, or the lack of information that's going to come out, because he has been smeared, and there are a lot of people who believe that what's happening with Hunter and with the GOP congressional hearings, that like where there's smoke there's fire, but the longer it goes on, it's looking like where there's smoke, like that somebody's just making smoke. And I'm wondering if that's their thought. Like they're that confident in the evidence and knowing what's going to come out that they know that this isn't going to hurt them in the long run. I wonder if the GOP strategically did this the wrong way. I wonder if they did this next year, if you could get these unfavorabilities ratings next year instead of this year, I think it was from a purely strategic standpoint. They brought this shit at the wrong time, and they brought it at the wrong time because Donald Trump asked them to bring it because he wants to take heat off of how bad he looks. So I think
that's what I was going to say.
I think it's going to backfire.
This is a different PR campaign. This is the offset Donald Trump's horrific PR that's coming out campaign, right? Like smearing Biden is part of a plan, in my opinion, a Steve Bannon plan. That's like Steve Bannon's a genius, but yeah. That's the plan. What's the smearing of Joe Biden now is about making him culpable. Any crime that Trump has committed, now let's make it look like Biden has also committed it. So when the election comes around in 2024, we're just two criminals. Which one do you like better?
And Bannon's actual plan, for those who haven't followed Steve Bannon, he's not like a Trump guy. He's not he's not a Republican. Steve Bannon wants to blow shit up. Steve Bannon wants fascism. Steve Bannon wants chaos. It's his stated goal. He's said it out loud. He's said it repeatedly. He wants to burn it down and start over. That's his whole goal. So when you ask yourself why Steve Bannon has attached himself to Trump, it's because Trump creates chaos. It's because Trump creates division. It's because Trump creates problems. It's not because he actually views Donald Trump as some sort of savior or a brilliant man. He just knows the chaos and the instability that comes with Donald Trump, and that's exactly what he's been wanting for decades.
100%. Bannon is destabilizing other democracies around the world. Look what he did in Brazil. Like, I say this, like, know thy enemy. That is why I listen to the War Room every day.
Wait, what did Bannon do in Brazil? I don't know about this.
Oh my, RTV.
So how many times
you live under a rock? They try to you don't know about Bolsonaro? How Trump's always touting Viktor Orban, the Hungarian president. Well, there's a third authoritarian stooge.
No, I know who Bolsonaro is. I didn't know. What did Bannon do?
Steve Bannon.
Okay, so probably
you didn't notice any similarities there.
I just didn't know
where there was a shaman breaking into the Brazilian parliament. You didn't notice anything going on there that seems similar to anything going on here. They
guess
Bannon's
I didn't.
trusted political advisors. What's his name? Jason, is his name Jason Smith? He was in Brazil. I mean, Bolsonaro stays with Trump whenever he is in Florida. Like, this is, you know,
Yeah,
this is not all by accident. Like, Steve Bannon is someone to keep an eye on. Keep your friends closer, your enemies closer.
I just saw the group message name change. I just saw that.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, isn't that funny, Jen? I accept the invitation.
Hey,
to the threesome.
Never mind. I'm not going to say what I have to say now. Because what I was going to say was going to be vague, and now it can't be vague. So I don't say it. I'm not going to say it anymore. You fucked up my joke. I just didn't know he was involved, but I should have known that because Steve Bannon also was, at least his company in Cambridge Analytica was also very involved in Brexit. That's what Mindfucked is about, Felice, but you won't read it because you don't trust me.
I know. You don't think I know about Cambridge Analytica? I do know. And the things I do know and in real time understood, like, that's what I'm always talking about. Like, the next currency it has nothing to do with money. It's about data. And
what do you mean? When you said that the other day, explain that. Break that down more simply.
Well, currency is being taken out of circulation, right? We're always talking about it and consolidated at the top of the economy. And that's by design, right? Scarcity of money and it's not recirculating the economy leaves people desperate, right? They will work lower paying jobs. They will work more jobs. They will work longer hours. This is about controlling the slave labor, cheap labor workforce in America, which is us. But what becomes valuable once money is sort of out of circulation in order to starve us and limit upward mobility to keep us working in jobs we don't want is what becomes what is valuable in society, right? That's what I keep trying to say about Marxism. There's no currency because other things have value. Pre-capitalism, there was no currency. There was no money. It's just what's the value of these goods and services. And the next valuable thing that people are sitting on, and that's what the tech industry is about. People used to be like, what's up with these outrageous valuations? It's not about what their product is. It's about the data they're collecting on us and how that data can be layered on top. Metadata can be layered on top of metadata to literally predict outcomes. They know better than us what we will do next. That's what I mean about there's no more free will. That is the next iteration is who has the most data, how can that data be combined and manipulated to manipulate us.
So it's not, so it's not that data will be the currency, it's that access to the data is how you will accomplish what you need to accomplish. It's essentially what you're saying, right?
Well, amongst the donor class, it will be a currency. I mean, that's how they'll pay each other for things, essentially.
By exchanging data. Yeah. I mean, you look at that politically. Even whose was it? I think it was. I think it's Daily Wire. I think in order to use the Daily Wire mailing list, you can rent it for like an election cycle, and I want to say it's like $175,000 or something like that. Just to
we should rent it.
List.
We need to start a fund and rent the Daily Wire mailing list. Can you imagine the fun the Discord could have with the Daily Wire mailing list? I mean, do the newsletters we would sign these people up for, do they ever end?
Or we could just recruit some hackers and we can see what we can do about getting the news.
Yeah, it's almost like we know one.
It's almost. I've heard of one. Still no. This crazy. Is there no MAGA in the chat? By the way, do we have no MAGA in the chat? I'm running out of shit trending on Twitter to even.
Too much learning.
Well, I've really enjoyed learning today. It's been nice for me to not yell and just learn instead.
I love learning.
What was the last thing you learned?
I can't remember right now.
Well, Hull's going to teach you something.
Hi, I just want to share an opinion. I agree with Flea's. That was
your audio sucks, dude.
And all right, I'll come back.
I want to say you don't know what to talk about on Twitter, but yeah, so officially they have now subpoenaed Hunter Biden and James Biden. James Comer subpoenaed Hunter and Jim Biden. So can you imagine this congressional hearing of absolute Marjorie Taylor Greene? The documents are on Twitter.
They videotaped it. They staged James Comer signing the subpoenas. Like this was some sort of fucking legislative signing.
Yeah, like they've done something. I've been screaming subpoena hunter for the longest time. Maybe now we'll get to some facts. Oh wait, no we won't.
What does it say here? Great, even if they can get Hunter and James Biden in there.
I welcome it.
Great, yeah, they're going to find out James Biden was getting the 10%. That was the big guy. They're going to find out that none of that money went to Joe. And then what? Then what are you going to do? This would not be a good thing for Republicans.
I still remember before all this started, I listened to a lawyer, well, at the time, who was representing Hunter Biden, and he gave like a 45-minute talk on someone's YouTube, like just about how confident he was that there was no crime. He's like, I looked over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, now I see what he's talking about. He's like, it's just, there's nothing. He's like, there's nothing there. If there is, we couldn't find it.
Welcome back, Hole.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, you sound lovely.
Oh, thanks. I think data was the new currency 10 years ago. I think we are past that era. It's not about the data because the data is ubiquitous now. The data that used to be valuable and still is valuable is not isolated, and it's available to the highest bidder. So it always is going to convert back to actual currency. Where we are now is it's about the extraction. The data is the raw materials. It's the crude oil. And now we're at a point where it's about the refined data. Where is the analysis coming from? Who has the computing power and who has the minds that can actually extract what we need from the data? Because we have so much data. We have too much data. The data isn't valuable. It's the conclusion from the data that's valuable.
But they're already doing that as well. You understand? That's what I mean when I said the layering of data. Like that's what I mean. The supercomputers that are essentially computing through that's already happening.
Correct. Yeah. As of like the past 3-4 years, we actually have access to that. But like the actual like data being currency, like that's been currency. It's been that way for 10 or 15
Well,
years.
I totally agree with that statement.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Is there any I'm thinking about this, like as data has gotten more accessible, the other thing that we've seen like in the last 10 years, I mean, and maybe this is just me because of my conversion, but like I actually find that data conclusions that are found from data, understanding the general public, like if you look at right versus left, who's done better with data, I think you could look at Trump and you could say like they did a great job converting these incels and low information voters into a Trump victory. But ever since then, I don't think that data has helped Republicans because I don't think they know what to do with the data, at least politically. Like I think they're actually they're either too stupid to understand the data or they hate what the data is telling them and so they won't act on it. There's no way you're running these campaigns with the data that they're getting. There's no way you're running a campaign on anti-abortion. There's no way you're running anti-trans campaigns if you're looking at this data.
Yeah, I want to just say I'm not talking about like campaigns buying data and using it. When I'm talking about the transfer of data, I'm talking about high level like billionaires, nothing to do with sort of on this level. But yeah, I think that what you're seeing is the data says nothing the Republicans want to see. Dragging the country backwards against their will would be going against the data. So that's why it's sort of defying logic. Every election that happens, you'd think they would see, okay, abortion's not the issue to be running on. And yet they press forward because this is about, like you said it earlier, they've decided instead of trying to go to affect change or agree to stop conserving the past, then they are willing to move to fascism.
I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to take like an optimistic approach, which like I'm eternally optimistic and it's a blind spot for me sometimes, but like I'm looking at just the expansion of the idea, like the expansion of people who are aligning more with communism and socialism in the last few years. Like that expansion of data and that expansion of knowledge, I think is actually telling us that like the billionaire class, if we're going to be optimistic at all, understanding these principles, having access to this data, billionaires are less popular now than probably they've ever been. The 1% is less popular now than they've ever been. And I do think that there's like, it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. I do think people are waking up to this idea that like there is a controlling class, and it's not Republicans, it's not Democrats, it's not our government, it's actually the people with money. So for anybody who think like it's not, I don't think we have to look at it and say like we're just fucked. I don't know if either of you have an optimistic view that way as well, but that's how I'm choosing to view it.
Well, yeah, like predictive data models, I mean, in terms of what's going to happen, like with AI, the outcomes, like that's one thing that data is doing is predicting human behavior. And like there are positive predicted outcomes, with the onset of AI and stuff. Like I said, we could experience like some rare singularity, and AI makes our lives easier and we need to work less. Because of AI, because of automation, we should be able to work less and have more leisure time. That is one of the predicted outcomes, that technology, that data could make our lives significantly better.
I think using the data and the conclusions from the data will never, in the long run, like you said, help the billionaire class. I mean, it's going to lead towards more socialism and those types of ideas. It seems like the sort of regressive, I see sort of a parallel thinking in convincing people to buy gold. Like it's a regressive idea because we don't use gold as a currency. But if you have the most money in the world, all you have to do is get the most people to invest in the same thing and do it with foresight to have already invested in that thing. And like, there's nothing more inert than gold. Like ideas and data and governments, everything is like unpredictable and shifting. And so these regressive models basically just lean on predictability. Regressive models is not what I meant, but regressive ideas.
I was with you. Welcome, Mr. Jones.
What's up, man? I saw a red wave coming this weekend and didn't pan out the way that I thought.
I'm sorry. You've got to be devastated.
All it did was create a mess that I had to clean up. So there's that. Also, I heard that you eat boiled chicken with no seasoning. That's what I was told. Is this?
Come on now. What the kind of shit is this? What happened?
With white rice on top of that.
It's devastating. That's devastating.
That's what I was.
Who's spreading these rumors? How dare you?
Me. It's me that's spreading the rumors. I just want you to know that because somebody doesn't know how to check their messages. So I figured I'd make up some rumors about you. Since
Did you message me again?
I did. But even if you would have done what I told you to do in the message, I probably wouldn't have responded anyway. So.
I'll check the message
because I've been busy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so
bad. But look, see, other people are already catching on. They said that they heard it too, and that you also use Miracle Whip instead of like Dukes, which is a respectable spray.
That's right. We don't use. Listen, for dinner every night, I'm doing boiled chicken. I'm doing white rice. Occasionally, if I want to spruce things up, I'll go with some steamed cauliflower.
That's fucking
yeah, but it is, and it's bland and it's white. That's my entire diet.
Have you ever seen a piece of boiled chicken like once it's been boiled? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, dude. Like my mom was literally the worst cook in the world. I love her dearly. She was a horrendous cook. If you think for 1 second that I didn't eat boiled chicken when I was a kid, you're out of your goddamn mind. Of course we did. She would make this awful, it's like a casserole. The ingredients were...
Y'all love some casseroles, don't you?
Bro, we loved it.
I don't want anything in casserole form. I really don't. I mean, that sincerely.
It was rice, cream of mushroom soup, chicken, and then some pepper on the top. That was basically the entire thing. Yeah, it was
That's the
horrific.
recipe on the can of soup.
I was about to say that's on the back.
Is that what? Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, smothered chicken. It's on the back of the soup.
Yeah, that's what I ate. Tuna on toast which I don't know if you guys ever had that. That's another, I think maybe cream of, one of the other cream of, what's the other cream of celery?
Broccoli?
I think it was cream of celery. Is there cream of celery?
There is cream of celery, yeah.
That's so disgusting.
But tuna on toast, I think we call that a sandwich. I'm not sure about that.
Yo, that shit, like,
No.
When you open those cans, it comes out like one gelatinous form.
This is worse. You cook the chicken in cream of celery soup, and then you take toast and you toast it, and you pour all that shit over the toast, and you just eat it like that. I now call it shit on a shingle, but it was horrific, man.
It's like cream chip beef, but you don't like beef.
Well done steak. My dad was the only time he would cook was steak, but he doesn't believe in any red in the meat, so well done steak. Twice a year.
That's not steak, bro. That's leather. That's disgusting.
Correct. Twice a year we would splurge. My dad would take me. It was on General Conference, which is like a Mormon thing. There's this meeting on Saturday night twice a year where just the men go, and you learn about how to be like a Jesus man or something. And then afterwards, he would take me to eat at Sizzler, and I would have a Sizzler steak, and that was just luxury for me. So no, I knew nothing about good food growing up. Never.
Listen, when I was a kid, the place that I always wanted to go was called Chesapeake Bay Seafood House. And it was like a Sizzler, but for seafood. And that's where I asked to go for my birthday every single year. And as an adult, I tried it. And I was like, this is horrendous. Like, I ate this.
Yeah.
But it was the bee's knees when I was a kid, though. I loved it.
But I would load up my pockets full of jelly beans on the way out of Sizzler. That was the best part. From the ice cream bar.
From the ice cream bar.
Yeah.
Definitely. What's up, Felice?
I just wanted to talk about some case updates. Is that okay, really quick?
Absolutely.
I don't want to interrupt it.
No, I was just going to ask how Trump's daughter did testifying against him today.
Well, that's one thing. So I just want to talk about. So this is 3 minutes ago. So Lisa Rubin, who's a lawyer and an MSNBC legal correspondent, she was saying, so they're back in session, and before Ivanka returns to the stand, Judge Engoron clarified that the email between Jared and Ivanka is admissible under New York case law. So the email where she was talking about deflating the value, you know what I mean, that she knew the company wasn't worth what you were just talking about. And so why? Because they emailed each other through work accounts. So in business accounts, they sent that she sent that email. She's
not bad.
And then she reminds us, your annual reminder, don't email your spouse from a work email because that's admissible.
I want to point out that this will be the second time that Ivanka has testified, you know what I'm saying, against her father. Once in the January 6th congressional hearings, and then today. Now today, I think we heard Letitia James' statement saying that she's going to try to distance herself from the Trump organization and any financial dealings. However, her emails.
Well, I'm going to switch really quick then to the January 6th case, Jack Smith, Judge Tanya Chutkin case. So they're arguing back and forth right now. Chris Kise and Lou Solomon, who are the relevance of the document. Okay, hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. So this is the thing. So Trump has been hinting over and over in the media that he plans on, or he's basically saying the narrative is, well, I had lawyers who gave me this advice to do this. You know what I mean? As far as, whatever. It was my lawyers. I did this on advice of counsel, which is a legal defense, advice of counsel defense. So Judge Chutkin today has ruled that he has until January 15th, 2024 to say whether he will use that as his defense, because this goes back to David. You know, David saying he's going to become a leftist when Trump's found guilty. Well, that's because Trump has provided no discovery. Whatever your defense is, you need to show your evidence pre-trial, right? He hasn't submitted any discovery. So she's saying you have until January 15th, 2024 to say whether or not that will be your defense. And if it will, he must provide documents and communications he intends to use and any otherwise privileged communications relevant to proving or undermining that defense. So David, the proof, whatever proof you think Donald Trump has, which my theory is that it's very scarce, it's coming by January 15th if he's going to use the advice of counsel defense.
Here's the part of, by the way, that New York case that nobody has really talked about. Trump had an accounting firm that did their accounting, Mazars or Mazars. Can't remember what it was, but they sent out a letter in 2022, basically when the attorney generals started this case, and they said they wrote a letter to the Trump organization, and also to Letitia James, saying and again in 2022 we write to advise that the statements of financial condition for Donald J. Trump for the years ending 2011 to 2020 should no longer be relied upon, and you should inform any recipients thereof who are currently relying upon one or more of those documents that those documents should not be relied upon. We have come to this conclusion based in part upon the filings made by New York Attorney General on January 2022, our own investigation, and information received from internal and external sources. While we have not concluded that the various financial statements as a whole contain material discrepancies, based upon the totality of the circumstances, we believe our advice to you to no longer rely upon those financial statements is appropriate. They quit. His accounting, the company that did his accounting, they quit because they couldn't stand behind any of this stuff.
Right.
And
well,
I'd
here's
say
the thing, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. Just really quickly. So here's the thing. When you ask Trump, you know what I'm saying, like, whose advice does he take? Like, who does he listen to? You know what I'm saying, when making decisions or determinations. And this was as president, he said, well, I have all the best ideas. I have great ideas. Remember, I know more than the generals. You know, I'm everything that is ever brought to him. He feels like he has the best information. He is the best source of information, that only his ideas are good ideas. Well, it makes it very hard for you to represent him in any fashion, whether it be an accounting firm, whether it be attorneys. That's why many attorneys won't touch him, you know, with a 10-foot pole. I wonder what all of these attorneys that are currently representing him in these cases are thinking to themselves, like, because he quite literally, in the little press conferences afterwards, like yesterday, comes out and says, oh yeah, Mar-a-Lago, 18 million. It's worth 50 to 100 times that. Do you know if it was worth 100 times the 18 million that it was valued at? By one, he'd owe a shit ton of personal property taxes.
So many.
It would be more valuable than fucking all the Disney parks combined.
Yeah. But
in perpetual Delulu land.
No, because Disney is woke, Mr. Jones. That's the thing. Being woke devalued Disney.
The property. God.
Correct. And being anti-woke increases the value.
I didn't factor that into my equation.
You didn't.
And Disney is certainly not pro-LGBT. What they are is pro-worker, right? They want their workers to work. All they did was try to say, hey, we're not going to discriminate against a large part of our workforce for you, Ron DeSantis. And as a result of just being like, hey, we want our workers to be able to work.
Now inside of the park, because I have season passes, I go there at least once a week. They have here. I'll just show you the picture. Hold on, you got me on a big enough screen. Let me
hold on. You go to Disney once a week?
At least, bro.
God bless you.
Hey, listen, man.
There's a whole group of people that do this. This is like a thing.
I'm a single dad.
I guess I am too. I don't have Disney here. I have Saguaro National Forest. I go show my daughter some cactuses. I spent all day. You might have missed it yesterday, Mr. Jones. My daughter was on a live with me. Well, she just came in to say hi to me, and she told HVAC to eat shit, which was fun. But that's what I do.
I love that for you. I love that for the both of you. Oh, you can't really see the top of it, but this is in the middle of Disney Springs. That's in the middle of Disney Springs. So they did that during Pride Month. And then hold on, there's another one. Let me see. Let me find the other one.
I did tell her to say that. That's correct, Jackie. I told her to say it. She didn't say it on her own. I said say
either
eat
way,
shit.
It's still great.
Thank you.
It's still great. Still great. And then that is inside of Hollywood Studios. That's inside of Hollywood Studios. So they put up a whole bunch of, pro LGBTQIA plus references or things inside of yes, I'm literally a Disney dad. I am a Disney dad.
Look at those cute kids. All right. Wait, are you Disney World or Disneyland? Disney World? You in Florida? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's Florida.
Florida? Okay. I lost him.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. No, I forgot. I thought I turned off the camera. I actually turned off my mic. You know I'm a boomer.
Take that. Discord, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I'm old as shit. I am old as shit.
Well, we went through a whole live, almost now 3.5 hours with not a single person willing to come up in the box, Mr. Jones. It's a new record for me. It's the first time it's ever happened.
That's crazy.
Not actually, one person came up, but their audio sucked.
Not even Thor? Not even Thor showed up today?
Thor's, which is shocking because Felice is here, and usually Thor goes wherever Felice is. So I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So I have a Thor. His name is Jay. Unfortunately, his name is Jay. His name is Jay as well. But he comes in every single day. I'm about to post a couple clips of him today. The best one yet is him telling me yesterday that he would absolutely. I said, if it was your daughter that said that this happened to her, you know what I'm saying, that she was assaulted, you know what I'm saying, in this dressing room, would you ask her what was she wearing and all these other questions that you've asked me today? And then he said, well, my daughter's a compulsive liar.
Probably because she doesn't trust her dad. She can't tell her dad the truth. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, Jay definitely needs to be on the watch list. The bro is scary.
Send me all the J's. I've run off all of my opposition at this point. I can't even. It's like HVAC sometimes will come in, but even HVAC he's a little down these days. He lost his dream girl to bad views. He's surrounded now at this point.
It's a true story.
Yeah. Jay told us how his daughter turned him into the feds yesterday, which was funny as hell. That's why he doesn't. That's why.
What?
That's why he wouldn't believe her essay story. So yeah.
Who's the compulsive liar of those two?
Yeah. After he broke into her apartment.
Well, yeah. Wait. Oh, Jay. Oh, give me all the Jay. I need Jay.
Yeah, and then I still have to finish the werewolf saga, the Werewolf Diaries. I just went to therapy this morning, so I didn't have an opportunity to do so.
Well, you're going to need therapy before you finish that. I think that's important. I think you need to be in a good place mentally before you continue the werewolf saga, because that's fucking insane. Yeah.
Can I do a trial update while you guys are talking about werewolves?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is again from Lisa Rubin, who's an MSNBC legal correspondent. She's inside the courtroom. She said, so they're talking about communications. Like I said, this is a paper trail that David Orowitz wrote to Alan Weisselberg, who's the CFO of the Trump administration, who is one of the only people besides the only person besides Michael Cohen to go to jail for Trump. He's still in jail, isn't he? Okay. So Ivanka wanted me to change the gap section, meaning that's the quote they're asking her about. She wrote to David Orowitz to change the generally accepted accounting principles section in the business document. Generally accepted accounting principles, that's like business B School 101. You can't change them.
Remember, I learned that it was Business School 101 from Don Jr. when they said, what is GAAP? And he said, generally accepted accounting principles. I learned it accounting 101 at Wharton. And then they said, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't know.
I think that's basically how everyone feels about it. But yeah, you can't. She's editing the generally accepted accounting principles. Yeah, so she's all up in this. That's the point. She literally
reported this?
David Orowitz in communication to Alan Weisselberg, who's the CFO of the Trump organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're saying Ivanka told me. Oh no, this is on the stand. Oh, Lisa Rubin. She's in the courtroom. They're questioning Ivanka right now about it. So Ivanka's trying to be like, oh, I don't know, like I don't remember. I had nothing to do with this. Like it was my brothers and my dad. But they have lawyers' notes saying Ivanka is the one who's trying to get me to change these contracts and the language in the business documents.
Oh no.
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say. She's caught up. This is
Oh no, poor Ivanka. She did her best to stay out and now she's caught.
Yeah. Are they going to, well listen, she got
got. Ivanka has gotten got.
She'll be a Democrat by the time this is all over. Anyway,
she's been a Democrat the whole time.
I know.
Yeah.
They're moderates. They're neo-libs, neocons. They've not.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you would think. Yeah, you say somebody said she's probably one of the smartest kids, but what are we really saying? Like when the bar is set, you know what I'm saying? Like in the underbelly of hell. I don't know what we're really saying in this instance, but I just want to point out, like, will Eric Trump specifically, but will these children be, criminally prosecuted for perjuring themselves on the stand?
They're saying, I mean, it's gray area because they're saying they don't remember. It's different than...
Well, no. Eric Trump lied on the stand numerous
I mean,
times.
we'll see. You could essentially, right? But this is a civil trial. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about the money.
Facts.
Isn't Tiffany the smartest for just staying away?
I agree with that 1,000%. My vote's for Tiff.
I know Barron's doing a good job too. Barron has stayed largely out of the fray.
That's because his mom probably moved him to a desert, like a remote island.
Yeah, she's in a secure location.
Right, where he doesn't.
No one knows where Melania and Barron are.
Exactly that.
All right. Well, look, I think I'm going to shut it down because we're going to do the debate later tonight. And
who are you guys debating tonight?
No, we're going to, Felice, myself, and Whisper are going to just, on YouTube, we're going to watch the RNC debate tonight because we hate ourselves. So we're going to subject ourselves to that.
I hear you.
Exactly. My depression was subsiding, so I really need to get back, into that despair and darkness.
Well, yesterday I think was a bit of a win, you know what I'm saying, for, humanity, the humanity of this country. We that impending red wave that we keep hearing about every single November seems to be nothing more than a fart in the wind.
When you think about, like, actually what's happened with our country, we basically had a red moment in 2016, and that's it. Ever since Bush left, it's been largely moments for Democrats, and then you had this one moment in 2016 where Republicans looked like they were going to do something, and then I guess some of that carried over to 2018 when nobody had figured out that Trump was a fucking moron yet. But outside of basically that 2 to 3 year stretch, it's been all blue. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, we got to keep it going. We got to keep the pressure on them. What is going on right now, in Palestine and Gaza is not a good look for America as a whole. So, we can hold the people that we support or the party in which we wish to carry us into the future. We can both hold them accountable for their participation, but also advocate for progressive change. And I want to remind people of that. And with that being said, I bid you adieu.
Amen. Thanks, Mr. Jones. Amen. My mic was muted. I was saying that. Hole, any last words before you're booted from this live forever?
No, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. I love Hole.
Can I be off this screen?
Maybe. Let me see.
I hate it.
Well, you said... I think I have to make mine bigger first. Hold on 1 second. There we go. There you go. And then I can do that. Any last words from you, Felice?
No, just I'm looking forward to the debates tonight. I think we're going to see the last... This is like the death rattle of these candidates, right? Like, like the last dying fight they have left in them to, like, do something. So I'm hoping it to be extremely unhinged. Like, this is going to be just their last PR, like, scream whatever you want. So...
Yeah. It'll be on, if you're not following it, I think it's at RTPJ on YouTube. The link is in my bio in the link tree. You can check it out there. We said it was 6. It was a 6.
It's 8 Eastern, Mountain. So yeah, 6 us.
Our time 6.
Whatever time we're in right now.
5 o'clock Pacific. We'll be there. Hopefully we have it all sorted out, but we'll see you guys then. I think Whisper's still going to go live today. Not sure. You plan on going live or anything?
No, I'm gonna probably make some, CCP propaganda. Master G, I've been slacking on all the propaganda I've paid to make for him, so I'm gonna get on that.
You put out a lot of propaganda yesterday.
I did. I mean, that's my business, advertising.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what
Thanks,
I do.
Felice. Thanks for
Have
saving me
day.
today. This would have been 4 hours of me talking by myself, so I appreciate it.
No, I know. I couldn't handle it. I had secondhand embarrassment. Okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
See ya. Bye. That's going to be it for me today. I'll see you guys tonight. I'll see you probably on Whispers Live. I don't have my daughter on Wednesdays, so I will be here. I'm going to go find some nail polish remover. Gonna head to Trader Joe's. And maybe get myself a bagel at Einstein's. It's going to be a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for all you cowardly Republicans for not doing a goddamn thing today and hiding and just pretending that didn't happen to you yesterday. Eventually, it will be safe for you to come out from under the rock. But until then, you're welcome to join us. You're welcome to vote blue and stop being embarrassed. That would be probably a good thing for you. You could show your face. You don't have to be called an idiot anymore. That'll be great. If any of you are wanting to join the Democrat Party or just be a leftist in general, go ahead and shoot me a DM. We can point you in the right direction. Again, tonight on YouTube, we'll be live for the debate. You'll be able to watch this replay on YouTube later today. Discord link, if you need that, shoot me a message, or Jen or IB or Korean leftists. Don't send it to Felice. She doesn't know what she's doing. I don't think Whisper's here. Don't send it to Whisper. If you'd like to join the Discord, feel free to send us a message. And that's it. I had links for stuff, by the way, that I'll talk about that tomorrow. Fuck that. File that police report. And I'm going to have to go file a police report, too, for my wallet, because that gas station owner's being a dick. But I will see you guys on Whispers Live, and then I'll see you later tonight. See ya.